Hey there, you're listening to You Still Going On About That with Rob Israel and Joseph K. You can find us anywhere you could download podcasts. You could also find us on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook at YSGoat. Thanks for listening. I'm Rob Israel.
I'm Joseph K.
And you still going on about
that?
All right, Joseph. What's going on?
Well, a whole lot. Halloween. We made it through Halloween.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, you know what didn't make it in Halloween?
What didn't make it through Halloween?
My candy bowl. I left out a bowl of candy for the kids.
Did you clearly mark?
I did. I made a sign that says, "Please take 2." I even put like pumpkins around it. I took a couple minutes to draw, make the sign nice. And I said, "Please take 2." Kids, for most of the night, I heard kids coming. They read the sign, little kids, like, you know, like voices, and they take them. I know some of those little bastards took more than 2.
Sure.
And that's fine. It's fine. I expect that.
Right.
The sign is there. The sign is there to prevent like one kid from taking like 30. You know?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Kid who takes 2, there might be a kid that takes 3, and it's like, take that.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, don't worry. I took that into account. You know, like an insurance company. You know, it's like you get people who kind of fuck with things. You make sure you have a couple of backup because you know the sign's there. The sign makes sure that kids don't take 10.
Right.
20,
yes.
Free for all, chaos, disorder. But not that sign did not help in the end of the day.
Yeah, that's tough.
Because once the night started, the sun went down, the ghouls came out, and my son screamed and said that someone had taken the candy bowl.
Yeah.
The entire bowl. I went outside and went, what? They didn't take the stool that it was on, like this, like,
all right, good
stool, whatever you want to call it. It's not. I don't know. I like that. I would be super pissed off if they took that.
Right.
Candy bowl, I was a little upset about. I love my dollar store bowl. The candy, it was meant to be taken. So that's
sure.
But not the bowl. The bowl was never supposed to be taken.
Yes, not part of the deal.
No, it was not part of the deal. And my neighbor said that she screamed at them, and I guess there was like a band of 10 boys or something. And supposedly the next door neighbors across the street, they took the candy, but they threw the bowl into something. And our neighbor, older lady, was like, I told them to stop, whatever, but these kids didn't care. It's a little, I have a theory about this, and you're probably not going to like this.
Oh, let me hear it.
Okay, so when I moved into this town, Roger was only like 3.
Oh, okay, yeah.
4. Yeah. And a lot of kids, we moved in, there was a lot of people moving in around that time.
Sure.
People, younger kids, everything. And my theory is that this area had an influx of new people moving in the past 5 to 10 years.
Okay.
And all those kids that they brought with them are now either like 10 or 15 or 16.
Sure.
There's going to be an influx of douchebag teenagers that are going to do crap like this. Now, there was a lot worse things that I thought they could have done, but I'm just letting you know, like, that's just nature. That's how it is. And like, I feel like there's just gonna be this crop of douchey teens now that we're not in like a cluster. And because of that, you're gonna get more things like pranks or douchiness or property damage. I mean, dude, once you start seeing the people driving down the street with their baseball bats up and knocking over mailboxes,
like in the beginning of Stand By Me.
Yes. Yeah.
Well, what we did, and we kind of got a little ahead of the curve, is we also put a big bowl out with a Take 1 sign, and then we filled it really high with candy, but on the bottom we put a live taser. Took a rubber band and just kind of a live taser. So if you took 1 or 2 off the top, you're fine, but if you dug your hand down in deep, then you'd get a tasing.
I should have invested in that. Or like razor blades. Razor
Sure.
blades around the perimeter of the bowl. Like you could stick your hand in and hit the bowl, but man, if you grab that bowl, you might not like it.
Or like remember
I
when
don't think I would
Krusty,
like it grabbing the bowl either.
remember when Krusty the Clown ran like a bad like a sales contest, and he had to give away a bunch of Krusty burgers, and he personally spit on every third Krusty burger. And that he thought that would dissuade people, but Homer just said he likes those odds and kept eating the Krusty burgers. But like
So people are here with COVID.
yeah,
They
right.
don't vaccinate or wear masks, and they're like, it's only like 1 out of like 5 people drop dead from it. That's fine. No, I think it's less than that. But
Feeling lucky. I'm
feeling lucky. You know, I love playing Russian roulette with me and my family. It's great. I will say this though.
Mhm.
Somebody posted in like one of those like neighborhood things. The candy bowl was recovered. So these little bastards threw all the candy bowls into someone's backyard. They didn't keep them. I thought
why
maybe
would you?
they would be like telling stories decades later. Father, where did you get that bowl? Oh, why? Let me tell you. Back in my youth, my friends and I passed by a great man's house. The best, most brightest blue plastic candy bowl, and I said, I must get that.
Right. Yeah.
And even though I may have stolen it, I truly think he would respect me for keeping this and passing it down in my lineage.
Right. And now they use it like as a baptismal font.
Yeah.
You know,
and I'm also the person that helped bring Medicare for all into the United States. It's all because of this candy bowl that I stole.
Well, that would be a candy bowl well stolen.
Yes, but that's not the case. That's not the case at all. These little fuckers will probably turn out to be like chuds. Ditched these bowls into someone's like backyard and they took a picture and said, hey, you want your bowl? And I said, you know, I kind of do, but I also don't care.
Yeah. Well, we have an interesting mix of topics tonight.
Did anything worse go on?
Yeah, right. Yes.
Like this candy bowl, this, you know.
Well, we'll talk about a brief fun thing first. The trailer for Book of Boba Fett came out.
Ooh, book about Boba Fett?
Well, it's like
we'll talk about that. Go ahead.
Moving pictures book. And then I guess this is also good news. The kids vaccine is available now as of today in our area. And then we're going to talk about the a slew of terrible news. The elections in Virginia, New Jersey, a whole bunch of local elections, state reps and school boards, new slate of Texas laws that were passed, a QAnon rally that occurred at Dealey Plaza in Dallas.
That's insane. I saw that. It was so crazy I couldn't even watch all of it. I was like,
it's just so bizarre. We'll talk about it more obviously when we talk about it, but it's so hard.
These people are they're cretins.
It's so hard to tell too, because like I know there's some like practical jokers in there too, and it's like the people that are making a joke of it are almost indistinguishable from the people that truly deeply believe it, you know.
Yeah, I feel like at some point these people like tip their toes into this goof, and all of a sudden now they're like going to the third QAnon rally, the fourth one. At that point, it's like, wait, what?
Yeah,
you know.
It's like I would like watch Showgirls and kind of goof on it, and then I would watch Showgirls again and goof on it, and then I'd watch it again, and at some point you just like Showgirls, right? I mean, like,
I guess like, you're like making like an annual watch party for you're like, dude, you just like admit it, you like it. That's how I am with like, you know, the Juggalos. You know, it's like you go to one Juggalo festival, and then, like now you have a merch table and you're selling hatchets to people.
Yeah, you're selling serving Faygo at Thanksgiving dinner and stuff.
Yeah, like and in full on Juggalo makeup. I mean, like at some point, where does the goof start? You know,
you recite Juggalo ICP lyrics instead of a prayer at Thanksgiving, and you're like,
you're asking about like it starts off with a joke, like magnets how they work.
Yes, right. And then the next thing you know, it's fucking 3:30 in the morning and you're down like some Wikipedia hole trying to figure out how magnets actually work. It's like it's relatively complicated. So
Yeah.
and then we'll end by talking about Kyle Rottenhog.
Rottenhog.
Yes. He was Rittenhog briefly, and I think I've changed him in my head to Rottenhog. What a despicable human he is. But anyway, they'll be the kind of the last one that we talk about, and then that'll be that.
Well, we'll get into the whole Rittenhouse thing because it's worse than just him. It's so bad. We'll get into it. It's depressing. All right, so let's start with
Book of Boba Fett.
Yeah. So I woke up a couple of days ago and there was a trailer for Book of Boba Fett, and I was like, "Ooh, I remember this was coming."
Yeah.
And I mean, it looks cool. Looks good. It's funny. People made a joke and said, so it's like, clearly it's like Boba Fett seizing power. If you saw the end of The Mandalorian, the last episode, they did like an end credit scene where Boba Fett showed up.
Yeah.
And basically killed a morbidly obese Bib Fortuna, which was kind of funny.
Yes.
And then just sat down on the throne with, and what's her name?
Fennec Shand.
Fennec Shand. And just all of a sudden it said Book of Boba Fett coming December of 2021. And I think people kind of forgot about it or whatever. There wasn't really any mentioning. And you even notice that with a lot of these streaming shows, they really don't start really heavily promoting it until like a month or two before it comes out.
Yeah. Well, I mean, there's so much content that they want you focused on something else first.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, there's just a lot of content.
So I think what is it? 6 episodes?
That sounds right. I don't know off the top of my head, but I remember it being a little shorter than most.
And now who knows? Maybe the episodes are now long. I don't know. But what's cool? So basically, it's like the plot is like he's seizing power and he wants to be like, I don't know what they're gonna make him like a bad guy hero. It feels like they're pushing him more towards like the anti-hero or the like villain with a heart of gold. Like he's because especially when you watch like Mandalorian, like when he showed up, thought he'd be like a really bad guy.
Yeah.
And like try to kill Mandalorian, but Mando, not really. And they ended up like working together. He's like, I am a Mandalorian too.
Yeah.
I will be your buddy. I will help you. And he's like, thank you.
He's just, I mean, like with the Mandalorian, Mando, we saw that like bounty hunting is more or less just kind of a business and it's nothing personal.
I watched the documentary series Dog the Bounty Hunter.
Right, yeah.
And I pretty much know everything you need to know about bounty hunting.
Yes, yeah.
And also looking like the living embodiment of pink lemonade.
Well, I saw the original series upon which Dog the Bounty Hunter was based, The Fall Guy, in which Colt Seavers was a Hollywood stuntman, but he was also a bounty hunter. I don't know if you remember that.
Probably more realistic than Dog the Bounty Hunter.
Very, yeah. This was like cinema.
Less staged.
Yes. It was
somehow the scripted television show is less staged than the reality show.
Really, and it holds up well. And the theme song is amazing. So,
and what's her face is in it?
Heather Thomas, yeah.
No,
Marky Post, yeah.
And Marky Post is in it also. We lost her recently. She passed away.
Yeah, that's a shame.
Yeah, great.
Well, but yeah. So
at night,
he's not like a good guy, but he's not a bad guy. He's just
it's like from what we gather in the trailer, it's only like a minute and a half long. Find it on if you haven't seen it already.
Yep.
It's like him and Fennec seizing power and meeting all the gangs, and he's like she says something about like Jabba would feed you to like
his menagerie
if you spoke out of line, and Boba Fett's like, please speak freely, which is like honestly I think Boba Fett might be setting them up for failure. He's like, speak freely.
Hey, wait a minute.
I think you're lying. Now the cool thing, and they didn't show this in the previews. I did see some behind the scenes images that leaked on the internet.
Okay.
Now I feel like a lot of stuff, if it leaks on the internet, it's intentional. They run a tight ship. If anything leaks from licensing companies. I used to work for licensing companies and stuff like that. And if it's like a movie or something like, especially like when the new Star Wars movies are coming out, they had like an ironclad contract that basically said if anything leaks from you, you will lose this license and you will never be able to do anything with us ever again. We will you will never get work again. Like they will destroy you. So these companies keep a tight shit. Like, and what was it like? A little while ago, there was like something that leaked in the new Venom movie, Venom versus Carnage. It was like the end credit scene. Spoilers to a movie about. End credit scene. It revealed that Venom gets sucked into another universe, which is going to lead to him confronting Peter Parker, MCU Spider-Man.
Okay. Oh, yeah.
But it leaked like a couple of days before the movie came out, and everyone's like, you know what? This was probably Sony intentionally had this leak. Like, oh, they made it look like it just magically leaked. Like,
but it's a little advanced
country and everything. The fact that it wasn't removed immediately. No, they wanted that out there so people would go see the movie. Because in the last Venom movie came out, people were like, well, what the fuck? He's not in the Marvel universe. What do I care?
Yeah.
So now they leaked and they're like, the movie's still not in the Marvel universe technically until like that last scene. But it's like to make people get excited about the movie. They're like, holy shit, he'll hang out with Tom Holland or something. It's so awesome.
No, that makes sense.
So Boba Fett, now I don't know if this was intentionally leaked or not. Oh, I think my dog just farted. Sorry. No, I'm not blaming the dog. The dog definitely farted. Oh my god. Like doesn't even breathe.
Dealing with an intentional leak of your own.
Yeah. This one I did not want to come out. It was images of Boba Fett from Empire Strikes Back era. Like that costume, obviously not the dad bod, clearly a younger stunt double or whatever. It's literally the Empire era Boba Fett. Oh. And so clearly there's going to be a ton of flashbacks in this, which I'm hoping there is.
Oh, yeah.
And I don't know. I'm excited for it. I think it's kind of cool. Like, it's funny. It's like Boba Fett's been this thing that everyone loved for years. I think I have, like, no joke. Like, it's so stupid. Even when I'm not buying toys, if there's a new really cool Boba Fett figure, I will buy it.
Yeah.
I will. I don't know why. I just do. I will. It's like Peter Griffin when he sees the chicken and the Peter Griffin Star Wars, and he's like, the chicken's dressed as Boba Fett. If I saw that in the store, I'd probably buy it. Chicken dressed as Boba Fett. It's one of the coolest costumes ever. And the thing was, he only was ever really a costume. And it wasn't really until the prequels came out that you got to see Jango Fett. And Jango Fett is like his dad or his clone. You know, it's like his dad because he was unlike the clones that had like a half-life cycle or something, like they aged double, he aged normally.
Yeah.
So his dad, he raised him like a son or like a little assistant.
Well, the original Boba Fett too was one of those things that Star Wars did so well back in the day, where they'd give you like a tiny little detail, and then in your head you kind of extrapolate a whole story behind that detail.
Because the movies barely did anything with him.
Yeah, but like you saw him.
Yeah, he's in the movie for like 30 seconds. There's a line where everyone like overanalyzes forever, where Darth Vader's like, remember, no disintegration. So people are like, oh my God, there's a history. Yeah. There's an adventure where Darth Vader hung out with Boba Fett and he disintegrated someone, and Darth Vader wanted to remind of Boba Fett. Remember that time when we fought on Clock 27 and you disintegrated that important person in the Clone Wars?
Clearly, yes.
None of that happened. None of that happened. The prequels were supposed to fulfill every little detail that came out in that, and the prequels they didn't really do it. You know, it's like, oh, you want Boba Fett in the prequels? Well, he's 10.
He's a child.
Like the best is Patton Oswalt has a whole great bit on the prequels where it's like, hey, you want to see Darth Vader? Yeah, he's awesome. I love him. Okay, well, he's a kid and he's sad. Hey, you want to see Boba Fett? And they're like, yeah, I love him. He's got the jetpack and the gun. He's like cool in the costume. Oh, okay, cool. Well, he's 10 in the movie, and he's sad. And then he goes on about like, you like ice cream? Like, well, here's some rock salt. you like Angelina Jolie while you're on voice sweaty balls. I feel like we're really getting this. We finally really got this character 40 years later.
Yeah.
In Mandalorian. And we're really going to get this character in the show.
Yeah.
He's showed up in different media over the years, in books and comics, and even in those, if you ever read them, they're kind of stupid. It's not like they could do much with the characters. They can only do so much. Like, he's a badass, he doesn't hardly talks, and he's just still this mysterious figure.
Yeah.
And it wasn't until like it was revealed Jango Fett was his dad and everything that, like, even in the comic, they finally show Boba Fett without a helmet, his mask off, because they can do that now. It was established in the movies.
Right.
Because he was Jango Fett. So they just made him look like Jango Fett. And that's why when he shows up in Mandalorian, it's the same actor, Temuera Morrison. So I feel like it's just, I find it interesting. It's like, here's this character that's been around for 40 years, over 40 years.
Yeah.
Really didn't get to know this character until 40, like,
that's
really
crazy.
long. Like, isn't that bizarre when you think about it? It's like if, I don't know, fucking Spock or Captain Kirk or whatever, but like they wore a helmet the whole time for like 50 years. You had no fucking clue who he was, really.
It is. That's a bizarre thing. 40 years. That's a long time.
People
And
love this character. They buy like video games based on toys. Like,
oh yeah,
it's like they're obsessed with this character. And I'm not talking about me.
Right.
But like, but this, all he was just a cool costume for decades.
Yeah.
I don't know. The funniest thing about this, I'm really excited about it, is that all these chuds that claim they got rid of their Disney Plus subscription.
Yeah.
Carano, not Curano, because she's a
right.
QAnon, who was fired from Disney for multiple times posting like anti-trans rhetoric and all kinds of bullshit, and then finishing it off with a Holocaust, some weird ass shit claiming, I don't even know, just it's something to do with like like Trump voters or like the Jews in concentration camps or some bizarre shit. It was super dumb. It was super bullshit and super tasteless. So they were like, fuck this, you know what? We're getting rid of you.
Well, and these chuds are even more pissed off because they just sprung part of their hard-earned cash on HBO Max because they thought they were getting a Cara Dune series, and instead they get Timothy Chalamet wandering around in the desert for 3 hours. So they.
It's called Dune.
Right. Well, they were thinking it was a Cara Dune.
Right. They're like, oh my god, in the desert. They made a whole franchise for her. It doesn't even make any sense. Like, why would they have the rights to this character outside?
Yeah.
There's a lot going on with your joke. A lot. Very. No, but they said that all these people who probably like the real like old, they claim they're like the properties have just become too woke and they just can't handle, whatever. Or some of these like chuds like Neurotic or any of these people like Ben Shapiro who claims. Remember they announced after she got fired, Ben Shapiro's like Daily Wire announced they were making.
Oh yeah.
I'm still waiting. Like, where is it?
I thought it was Dune, but
all it did was it just got a bunch of people subscribed that month to the Daily Wire. There was probably people like 6 months later, probably like, wait, what am I paying for?
Who wakes up every morning, fires up a pot of coffee, and then logs into the Daily Caller subscription, Daily Wire subscription service, and peruses the For You selections?
I think that's a person who would subscribe to the Daily Wire. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know.
But they claim that they dropped their Disney Plus subscription, to support Gina Carano, and they're not allowed to get back on Disney Plus until they hire her back. Till Kathleen Kennedy admits she was wrong, according to them. They put out these like clickbait videos all the time, and it says like Kathleen Kennedy will be fired soon. They've been saying this for like years now. One day she'll, trust me, guys. One day,
yes,
Yeah, one day anything. You could say that about anything. Yes. One day she will not be in charge of this. That's just
That's how age works.
That's how. Yes,
Eventually,
we're not finite. We have a finite. We're not infinite.
you grow older and you die.
But I guess so. Their videos can be held true, but if they have like 1,000 video claiming this, it's like. So they said that they are not going to watch Disney Plus, which means they're not going to watch the Book of Boba Fett.
Right.
Which, I'm sorry, I bet you all these, if they claim they love Star Wars, these are definitely people who love Boba Fett. They love Darth Maul. They don't like that sissy like Luke or too soft, too thoughtful, too much thought involved, too much emotions.
Yeah.
Too much empathy. They want a cold, vindictive character.
Yep.
Doesn't really say anything. Just cut down someone for no fucking reason at all. It just looks cool.
Mm-hmm.
And they're not gonna be able to watch that. They might even say the fact that Mandalorian, that Boba Fett took his helmet off makes him woke. Maybe that's enough for them not to watch it. They're like,
could be.
What? He hangs out with, he has a woman as his partner? Oh my god, he's a cuck.
Yeah.
Well, Boba Fett, more like Boba Cuck. That's probably what they're gonna say. They're not allowed to watch it.
No.
They actually come back and say to them, no. Like they should try it. They're like right now, they're like, subscribe. Oh, sorry, Gina, my queen, but let's get back. I need to see the Book of Boba Fett. And Disney should come back and be like, you know what?
Not for you.
Usually don't care. We'll take your money any day because we're but for this one time we are going to say no.
Yeah, they should say it in a Mickey Mouse voice too, which should be
like, you thought you were going to come back and watch it?
Moose out front should have told you.
Right?
The moose out front should have told you.
Yeah, that's a different property, Joe.
Okay, yeah.
I know what you're saying now. Yeah, Goofy's like, well, gosh, like, I mean, I just think that I think they should not be allowed. They should be like how some of those like January 6 people were like not allowed to. They're on like no-fly list.
That's hilarious.
Those people that don't want to wear a mask on the plane, they get on like permanent no-fly list. That should be like how that is with Disney Plus. Like if you like drop Disney Plus specifically for the sole reason of now, I'm not saying the cash. I'm talking about those people who put out. They have like millions of views on YouTube. They put out these like bullshit shows.
Yeah.
Those people should not be allowed to have Disney Plus. They should not be allowed to, and they should never be allowed to watch Boba Fett. If they find a like a cracked version or something online, that version should either destroy their computer, or a program that does not work. No matter what they can never watch the Book of Boba Fett.
Yeah, it should like whenever they log in, like all their options should just be episodes of Walker Texas Ranger. Like that's it. Like it's just
or that scene from
Back in Me, like
when the kid gets rolled off into a hill. That should be the only thing they're allowed to see. It's basically the equivalent of the Rick Astley video.
Yeah.
Now it should say in a condition, you can come back and watch the Book of Boba Fett if you make a public statement saying that you made a mistake in putting all your support to Gina Carano and talk about how great Kathleen Kennedy is.
Yeah.
Just like, put out videos now just talking about what a great job she's doing and how it probably weren't for her and her handling of everything, there would be no Book of Boba Fett.
That's true. All true.
I mean, all praise be to Kathleen Kennedy. No, but I think that should be they cannot see the show. And I thought that was like the funny when I watched that Book of Boba Fett thing. That's the first thing that made me pop in my head. I was like laughing. I'm like, all these like chuds who claim they're not going to watch Disney Plus.
Yeah, they're gonna miss out on so much.
This is Book of Boba Fett. No, not even none of this other stuff. Like
just
Boba Fett is like that's. Yeah, that's like something that people have been wanting since they were like small.
Oh yeah, it is.
Shitty politics or not,
Yeah.
Great. Well, I'm glad that all my childish fantasies are being fulfilled into my middle age. It's wonderful. We live in such a great, great. I never will age out of the stuff I like. I will.
Yeah.
They call it cradle to the grave marketing.
I think you're right. Like at one point, I realized, I'm much older now. It's just not going to be that I get sick of it. You know what I mean? Like when I was a kid, I was like, oh, I'll eventually get sick of all this stuff. But like,
well, they're doing a good job on it.
Yeah.
Like the funny thing about the prequels was it made me dislike Star Wars because they were not good.
They weren't great. Yeah.
And I can see how some people don't like the movies. They're not the new ones. Sure. Like there's like things that they're hit and miss. But overall, like as a choice, they suck. But the Mandalorian, I think, like just cemented though. I think they need to just be TV going forward.
Yeah.
Like, unless they come up with something amazing or like one good one-off movie, movie, and then don't worry about it being a trilogy. Make like beginning, middle, and end solid. Maybe sprinkle in, little ideas that lead to a bigger trilogy or whatever, but not this bullshit. Like this feels like a television pilot. Stop making movies that feel like a fucking television pilot.
Yeah,
make a movie. When RoboCop did his thing and he goes and he was about to take his helmet off, and then like, you know what? Not now. Maybe later, guys, in a sequel. I don't know, but I will say this: when I was 5 and I got my Slave One toy, or maybe I was 4, and I got my Slave One ship. And then when it was 20 and I got the reissue of the Slave ship, and they permanently had a hold on me. And I was like, Boba Fett's just a dude in a helmet.
Yeah.
And then in my 30s, I was in a crossroads. Will Boba Fett ever be just a dude in a helmet? And then in my 40s, it is revealed that he's a
fully formed man.
Who's like in his 50s in real life, bald and a little pudgy, just like me. Well, I'm not bald. I have a full, beautiful mane of hair.
But yeah, Boba Fett grows with us, which is
I'm glad to see that Boba Fett is growing with us, and he can, and then maybe like as I'm dying and hopefully at old age, let's hope for that. And then Boba Fett can die with me, I'm dying too. Like they should do that with all their characters. Like they're not dead because they're like IPs and they're gone, but they should do like a virtual thing where like Spider-Man dies with you too. Like, hey, it's your friendly neighborhood Spider-Man. I'm old as well, so let's lay internally. 80, 90-year-old.
Yeah.
Thanks for consuming Spider-Man products your entire life. Hey, Dad, what good things did you do? Well, son, let me break it down. When I saw Spider-Man in the theater, and then when I saw Spider-Man Far From Home in the theater with you.
Yes.
And then when I saw Spider-Man, Here We Go Again. And then when I saw Spider-Man, Carmen Sandiego.
At one point, I was reading 4 separate comic books, 4 separate Spider-Man comic books. Yeah.
Life was great. I accomplished a lot.
Yes.
Wow, that was weird.
It took a dark turn.
I'm just, I'm really excited to age with Boba Fett. I mean, most people don't, they don't get to do that with their heroes. But you know what? You know what's going to happen probably? What will really happen, especially when I get to like 50 or something? They got to reboot this shit.
Yeah.
Boba Fett is going to be played by like that guy from a Twilight movie or something. Even though that guy will be too old too.
Yeah. Well.
But I'll just assume that. All right. Well, speaking on a totally different subject.
Well, yeah.
Brighten the moment. Something that a little less dark.
Well, this is actually the thing that will allow us to live long and healthy lives to consume Spider-Man products. We got the
Boba Fett pellets.
You recently got your coronavirus booster. Yeah. And now we have
which makes you impervious to cars.
Yeah.
Incoming traffic.
Right. And both of us have the opportunity to get our kids vaccinated.
I already got my kid signed up for this. He's I don't know if he's excited about it, but
Well, I asked my daughter, I said, uh this morning actually on the way to school, I was like, you're eligible now for the vaccine and we can go get you one. And she's like, oh, okay, cool. And I was like, do you want to get it? You want to try to get an appointment today? And she's like, well, I've got, I got this, that, and whatever, but let's just get it this weekend or whatever is what she said. And she seemed genuinely enthused. I think mostly because
I have this, and this. She's 10. What the fuck is this? Yeah,
well,
let me fit you into my schedule.
She still wears a mask to school and everything, and I think she's looking forward to not having to be so diligent with it, because she really has. She's done a good job kind of abiding by that. So yeah, she's pumped, so
Yeah, it would be nice to. I mean, unfortunately, in the area we live,
yeah,
I really would love to know within a month what really is the percentage of kids that got vaccinated in this
yeah,
area. I feel like it's going to be really poor because the thing is, unfortunately, there's been a big anti-vaxxer movement in this country.
yeah, a successful
Mostly
one.
by the GOP. I mean, it's successful, not to the point where it's completely decimated society. Unfortunately, most of the people who got super sick from it and perished were the people who refused to get
Yeah,
vaccinated. Then, of course, they will keep saying, even as this happens, they'll say, no, it's the vaccinated that are causing the disease. I'm like, that again makes no sense at all.
yeah.
Vaccine on the Delta variant, they tried blaming the vaccine on all these things. And my fear is that um, people who got vaccinated back in the spring this year
Yep.
are not going to get their kids vaccinated now because they were
Yeah.
either like red pilled over the summer
Right.
and fell into anti-vaxxer, even though like they're fine, or they'll convince themselves that they had these like weird side effects or some bullshit,
Yeah.
and they're going to be hesitant to get their kids vaccinated.
Well,
And it's going to be some people who are just negligent. But I don't know. I'm really curious how many people get vaccinated in this area.
I'll
Really,
bet you um what's the highest vaccination rate in like a state, like for a solid state like Connecticut or
Colorado's at 80% now.
80%? All right.
That's
So
Colorado.
like,
They're not even in the highs. I mean, the East Coast, yeah, Connecticut was like 80. I mean, again, you could probably break down some areas are better than others. I'm
sure.
sure areas
Oh
of
yeah,
Colorado
yeah,
that are way worse. There's areas in Texas that are better. Where Dallas is going to be better than like fucking Gurgleville in the middle of
right.
like state where no one lives.
Yeah.
It's just gonna be. It depends. It's a
I would say that I would imagine our area, our little area around here, it wouldn't stun me if it's 50%.
I hope it's that much because let me tell you, the vaccine's been available for people 12 and over, and the high school, from what I
Yeah.
know, I heard it's not that great of a vaccination rate. Because you got to remember too, it's like for every parent that lives here, some of these people on average have like 3 or 4 kids.
Yeah. Well, it
We're
gets
we're
it,
like in the not in the norm is like
true.
we put our kids as only children,
Yeah.
I mean, we have pets. I tell them like, you gotta get that buddy. He's a
Hey,
brother.
we did it right the first
Wipe your
time,
brother's butt. Change your brother's kitty litter. What?
We did it right the first time. We didn't need to have like second, third,
There you
fourth.
go. Yeah, it's it. You perfect it one
Yeah.
time.
Well,
I mean, like, I feel like so you got all these people have like little kids and shit. So it's like, you know, if these people do the right thing, get their kids vaccinated, that makes a huge fucking difference
yeah.
on like this virus going away because now you won't have like a bunch of germ spreading 6, 7, 10-year-olds going around.
Well, the thing that's kind of not bothering me, but the thing I'm a little regretful of is that um once my whole family's vaccinated, I mean me and my wife are vaccinated, but once we're all good here, then I hope that we're still kind of diligent in some basic common sense stuff because none of us have been sick over the last year and a half. I mean, we just haven't been,
except for some allergies.
yeah, right, yeah.
I got on a cold. I'll be honest with you. Even when my son's fully vaccinated, and my wife just got the booster yesterday.
Yep.
I got the booster last week. I mean, I'm still gonna wear a mask in public places here. I'm going to, especially in the wintertime. Like I don't want a cold. I don't want, like, I'm sorry. Like I'm not a lot sorry for, but like I mean, will I be a little more like you said, like a little more open things?
Sure.
Yeah, but I don't know if I'm gonna rush into indoor dining immediately.
Yeah.
Like I'm not dying to do that right now. I'm not like, I want to see the rate still. I want to see the vaccination rate be decent. I want to see people get their kids vaccinated.
Yeah.
I mean, I hope they do. I just feel like they won't. I mean, I'm sorry. Any of these families that you see, like you go to like Target, Walmart, any of these places, supermarkets, or like that, and you see the mom with like the 5 kids, and none of those kids are wearing masks. She's not wearing a mask. The dad's not wearing a mask. Those fucking people are probably, I'm sorry, that percentage of them getting vaccinated so low. These people don't give a fucking shit. And all these people know people who have COVID. That's the thing that drives me up the wall. It's like some of these people, they've like, they know people have COVID. They know people who died of it. They'll even say it. And I'm like,
it is bizarre. Well, we saw the leader of the True Texas Party or whatever, the True Texas group. Yeah, she had a horrible case of COVID.
Yeah,
like very, very ill, and it just like redoubled her efforts not to get vaccinated.
Yeah, she told people don't get vaccinated. It was like the best thing ever. I was like, what? Like that's deranged.
It's
deranged. That is asinine. Like that's not even. It's like it's so dangerous. Yeah. It's like there's a moment where in these all these chuds are proven to be just awful, and like you would think there's no teachable moments with these people.
Right.
They get COVID and they don't say, you know what, I was wrong, get the vaccine.
No.
No. It's like what's his face? What was that guy? Former governor of New Jersey.
Chris Christie.
He got COVID, right?
Yes.
And he got around the time, same time as Trump got it, actually. Pretty much around the same time. And
he was in the
hospital, he wasn't doing well. And he came out and said, you should get vaccinated and all that stuff. But you need to take it seriously. The vaccine wasn't ready yet for the public. But that's where he's like, you got to wear a mask. You got to take this seriously. He regretted it. But again, it's like, it's so different. He's a former governor of New Jersey. He tries to appeal to. It's so bizarre what a game it is with some people, how they won't bend their will in any way, especially if they're part of this like MAGA chud circuit, this like right-wing grift circuit. Like they don't bend. They use getting COVID and surviving as like this, like it's and like saying like, oh, I took Regeneron, I took ivermectin, I took all these things, like as if it's like some accomplishment. And it's like, you didn't have to do any of that. You could have just the vaccine. And you could have gotten, and you could have worn a mask and actually taken it seriously and maybe did a couple less stupid things.
It is really strange. It's almost like a religious conviction amongst them, like they have this set of beliefs and they can't deviate from it. And
I also think a lot of it has to do with they know who their customer is, they know who their market is, and they know who butters their bread, and they know that their audience is a majority of things. But the thing is, like, it's like a what do they call it, like a snake eating its tail.
An Ouroboros.
Like it's this. They literally they feed them the product. The customers eat the product. They shit out the product, and if you come out and all of a sudden you already created the problem. And if you come out one day and be like, "Hey guys, let me tell you, you should get vaccinated and everything," you're like, "Wait, you've been telling me for like months now if I got vaccinated, I'm a fuck boy." Like. And that I'm not a man according to what you said, and you know what I mean. Like, imagine if Hogan came out after getting COVID and was like, "Guys, you know what, man? I want to tell you, bros, I put a lot of thought into this, and I just want to say, you gotta get vaccinated."
Well, the other thing
he would lose his audience, and his when he does comedy shows, he would lose his audience. He would lose He would lose a view, audience members. He wouldn't gain audience members. He would lose
Yeah.
audience members.
It's just been really the reaction to the coronavirus and the vaccine has just been really like weaponized by the right wing. I mean, like it's one thing that's very popular amongst people is that they don't like the coronavirus restrictions. Even people that adhere to them and believe in them don't like them. Uh, and the GOP just kind of went with that and ran. I mean, and we can talk about it in a minute, but that's really what was driving a lot of the gains they made in Virginia and New Jersey and Texas and all over the country. They were making these gains based off these coronavirus restrictions.
It was my fear of the California recall that he would lose the recall, Newsom, based on just a bunch of reactionary morons who were given like even just the slightest inconvenience.
Well,
that they would vote in Larry Elder just to spite Newsom. And that was a huge fear of mine. Thankfully, that didn't happen because California is the fifth largest economy, like in the world, not even the world. And to have like a clown like Larry Elder be able to like, even just a year, just fuck up the state. Yeah, I just want to read this since we're still talking about the kids. All right, so your evil counterpart,
Matt Walsh,
younger evil version. It's like Gemini Man. They made a clone of me.
Yeah.
And then trained that one to be a killer. I don't remember the line. That's like what Will Smith says. That's kind of like what he's your Gemini Man.
Yeah, I could see that.
Yeah, because he's probably like, I don't know, you're like 90 years old. I don't know. He goes, if they try to pass any kind of vaccine mandate for children, they will see a backlash unlike anything they can imagine. It will make the school boards look tame by comparison. You try to force this drug into our children's bodies, and you will reap the whirlwind. Just watch. I just wrote, I'm like, Matt Walsh is currently stupid and dangerous. I mean, it's like, but he's just saying exactly what they plan on doing as the kids version of this vaccine. And they're waiting for the day the media puts even an article. The media's going to put an article out in the next week or two.
Yeah.
And be not cited right, or the headline will be a clickbaity, and they'll say something like "kid reacted badly to it," and then these people will say, "We told you," and it's like, as millions of these get administered, there's gonna be one or two people that are gonna react badly. You know what's worse? Getting COVID.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. I mean, in a perfect world, we would have a situation where like people could make some informed decisions regarding this or whatever, but I don't know. It just seems like the Republicans kind of gambled on this as being like a popular issue, and they've really run with it.
I don't think it's. I think there's something else going on. Well, let me. You said we talked about this beforehand before we get into. Abbott signed in another anti-COVID restriction.
Yeah.
I don't mean anti-COVID like he's anti-COVID and let's do something to stop it. More like anti like mediations to help stop the spread of COVID.
Yeah.
Well, if anything, Abbott is pro-COVID.
Yeah, it really is bizarre. He's running very far to the right. I think, and you said this earlier on, he started out as just a terrible person. Greg Abbott was just
he was a terrible lawyer. Even like his own lawsuit that benefited himself was like based on something awful and kind of like go ahead. Supposedly, like the person he sued where he got injured happened to know who that person was.
Yeah, I think it was a friend of his even.
Who was like there was something really shady supposedly about it.
Yeah. It's just, I don't know. It's something. Well, he passed a new law, and like all these things, I think there were 9 of them. They all got approved. There were 8 or 9 of them. And one of them was that no church ever could be shut down for coronavirus.
Can the church shut itself down? Is that?
Oh yeah, the church can choose to shut down.
Oh, but
of course.
the government can't be like, hey, you guys, you got to shut down.
Right. Yes.
No?
Yeah.
That's so stupid.
Um,
It's just dumb. I mean, it's like nonsensical. Yeah, go ahead.
It's just bizarre. I mean, like it's one of those things where like I can't ever imagine there being. It's never a big deal until these people make it a big deal. It's like if no church had ever said anything, they could have been doing whatever they wanted all along. But that's not how it works because they have this martyr complex. And so the church will get out there and say, hey, you know what? We're going to disobey this law. Hope you don't fine us, and like they kind of goad the state into saying, well, you shouldn't put an entire city at risk. And then it's just exhausting.
What's crazy about these dumbass churches is that, no offense to dumbass churches, but like you saw all these like pastors drop dead of COVID over the years, or since this started. All these like I'm gonna pack the churches. I'm gonna do it. Some of these guys like dropped dead of COVID. No, these motherfuckers learn from each other's like mistake.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, Tim Pool got COVID the other day.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
He didn't. Shocker, be shocked. He did not get vaccinated, and I guess Joe Rogan's helping him out with Regeneron or whatever. And again, I will say this about Regeneron. This is my real true belief why the Republicans really hate the vaccine. One, they want to like cause chaos and make it that Biden be president so they can come in and seize power. That's literally what the plan is. But the other one is that this is one of the best socialized medicine this government has ever done in decades. It is like possibly the best. Like you can make an appointment, go right to Walgreens, any of these places. And even though they're corporate owned, everything like that, like Walgreens gives it to you. You do not give them one nickel. Now, yes, did the government pay for these vaccines? Yes. Sure. But even like, so supposedly, you know how much a vial of, do you know how much a vaccine costs technically?
I don't know. No, I mean,
it's $20 a dose.
Okay, I was going to guess 15, but yeah, that sounds about right.
Okay. You know how much Regeneron costs? $2,100 per dose.
Yeah.
The Republicans hate, and all the talking heads, all of them that speak for Republican policies. I mean, they may act like they're independent from it. It's all connected. They all lead right into it. They're all part of it. If they are putting it, they hate it because it is socialized medicine. They hate that you can go to the doctor, you go to an area that is giving them out, whatever it is, and you personally don't have to pay a dime. That person will be like, well, technically you pay. No, you're not. Mm-hmm. You can say, I don't pass by a stoplight, every stoplight and go, I paid for that. Like I don't think about it once.
Right.
As far as I know, point of purchase vaccine, I did not pay for it. I went in there, they gave me a little poke, I won't say the other word. Right. And it didn't cost me a dime.
Yeah.
And these motherfuckers hate
They don't like that at all.
They fucking hate it. If it was up to them, they would make it a profit motive. And like I said, it would be a profit motive. And if you refuse to get the vaccine, you would get a fine. And all these so-called freedom people, like Matt Walsh and all these people claim they would be telling people to get in line to get the vaccine or experience a fine. And they'd be like, what are you, an idiot? Get the vaccine. They would totally do that. They're full of shit. Like I said, one is socialism, which is the vaccine, and the other is fancy boy medicine for rich lads.
Yeah. Well, yeah. It is. I guess it's kind of like an odd transition.
That's fine.
The Texas laws that you were talking about, the church laws and all that, all of them passed yesterday. And only 9% of eligible voters in Texas voted. 9%.
People are turned off. Did you vote yesterday?
Not yesterday, but I voted.
Oh, you did?
Yeah.
I'll be honest with you. I actually forgot to vote.
Yeah. I mean, these were all foregone conclusions. If you looked at the polling, it was going to be whatever the Republicans wanted, they were going to get on this election cycle.
Yeah, it's a tough one. It's tough when it's like these weird, when it's just bills and you're not voting for a governor or a senator or congressman or a mayor or president, and it's this type of stuff that involves people being more involved. And of course, if these are horrible right-wing bills that are getting pushed through, of course they're getting pushed through probably the churches here. They're getting pushed through in like different things. They're like, come out and vote for this. Yeah, I should have voted.
Yeah.
I push voting all the time. I do. I think it's really important. And I just oopsie poopsie this one.
Well, some of them weren't
for this.
Some of them weren't terrible. Like one of the propositions approved yesterday was that rodeos could have raffles. Right, like raffles, I guess, are considered gambling. Yeah, I mean, look, if it were up to me, we'd shut rodeos down. But like,
oh my god, what progress! Ooh.
Some of these were just kind of innocuous little propositions that probably look.
Rodeo clowns will now get paid in peanuts and not styrofoam peanuts.
But I'll tell you, and this is a better transition. The voting turnout in places like Virginia and New Jersey was actually much higher than it normally is, and the results were terrifying. Republicans.
I heard that less Democrats came out to vote in this Virginia race.
Yeah, I think that's true.
It wasn't that there was all of a sudden this onslaught of more Republicans that voted. Is that the Democrats stayed home. Now, I'll tell you this, a governor's race is very different. To me, it's not, I mean, that's bigger than like even just like your mayor, even a congressman or a judge or anything like that. Like, this is the governor of a fucking state. There is no excuse for this. Now, there's a lot about this, and people are going to be analyzing this election for next year and saying like Biden's done, or they're going to say all this kind of stuff. The Dems are done. But I really think, at the end of the day, what it really comes down to is Mr. Potato Head's thick, veiny potato cock being taken away from us by the evil, woke corporation Hasbro. And thankfully, the people voted in Virginia for a man that will make sure that the Mr. Potato Head's thick, veiny potato cock remains.
Well, they did.
Everyone's a winner. Everyone wins.
They did a lot of exit polling, and the two things that stuck out to me the most is that the biggest shift to supporting the Chud candidate was in schools, and the white suburban women, mostly white suburban women, fell for it hook, line, and sinker that people were teaching critical race theory in the schools, which wasn't happening. That the schools were flooded with library books promoting promoting.
Yeah, no, not kidding. I saw one that was floating around.
Yep.
And this one woman's like, "Oh my god, can you see how horrible this is?" And they're posting this like graphic novel, and that supposedly wasn't even in the library. There was this one woman who claimed her kid. This was the best. This was a Republican operative who claimed that how offended she was by this book and everything, and her son who goes to the school. And I thought, like, okay, here we go again. But the odd thing is that this kid that she supposedly that goes to the school graduated a decade ago.
Oh, Jesus.
And happens to work for like a
Republican.
Yeah. Like, I mean, it was like so ridiculous how blatant of a lie it is. And they get away with it. They get away with it. It's like your kid's 27 years old.
Well, I'll tell you, I remember it as clear as a bell. I was at this luncheon once, not that long ago. It was during the Kavanaugh hearings, the Kavanaugh hearings.
All right, well, that was like 2 years ago, but yeah.
And I heard a bunch of like white suburban women talking about how that Brett Kavanaugh was being unfairly targeted. And I was like, you gotta be kidding me. And it all came down to, all of them said in various ways, but some of them straight up said it like this: if Kavanaugh gets nailed for this, then what will happen to my son?
What will happen to my future rapist son?
So, well, they and I don't know, I'm not going to imagine what's going on in their heads, but like I don't know if they thought like my son should be able to do shit like this, or if they were thinking like my son is going to get accused by someone falsely, and who knows what they're thinking.
I will say that these people are fucking imbeciles, and they're just repeating whatever bullshit they heard on Fox News. That's exactly what I heard on Fox News that floated around. And if Fox News told them the opposite, they would be saying the opposite.
Yeah, I think that too, to some degree. But I think the thing about the Fox News that appeals to them, or why they're watching Fox News, is because I 100% believe that a big majority of this is being pushed by suburban white women that want a 1950s future for their male children.
Right. That doesn't exist without great social programs and like.
I don't think I think they do want those great social programs for their white male children.
Right, but they won't ever. But the joke is that even in that case, they'll never happen, even under a Republican, and this never happened ever, because even with the Dems in power, you have people like Cinnamon Manchin that sinking the entire Biden.
It's stunning. I mean, like, I know I usually give Joe Manchin a pass because he's Joe Manchin, and what do you expect from him?
That's
but
bullshit. Like, did you see that thing I sent you today where it said like basically like they're basically caucusing with Mitch McConnell in the Senate? It's like, just put a fucking R in front of their name and get it over with already.
I don't know how Joe Manchin goes back to Virginia and tells them like, you're not getting childcare, you're not getting family leave. Like, West Virginia is basically a welfare state.
Who knows what goes on in fucking West Virginia, what these people think and what they care about. Yeah, I mean, like there's definitely Democrats there who are like, what the fuck? But like, I guarantee the majority of people there like don't give a fucking shit. And they're all falling for that CRT shit.
Right.
And they're all falling for that cancel culture bullshit. I mean, it's like so funny. I was like thinking, like all these people who claim that things are being canceled are benefiting every day and making millions of dollars claiming it. Like a good I'm not gonna, never mind. I'm not gonna bring them up. Like they've used that as a way to win too. But I'm sorry, like you're telling me in this day and age, and this is where I'm like really I'll just read these tweets. My wife was making fun of me. Because she listens to their podcast. She goes, "Why do you read the tweets?" And I'm like, because sometimes I have like a thought that I wrote down and I don't have it like it's there. I wrote it, It's like let me see if I can find it. That's the thing. Like this. Here's one: Cinnamon Manchin huddling with Thune and McConnell during voting on John Lewis voting bill. That was 10 hours ago. I wrote their name. It's already done. I said, what is going on in Texas and Florida is not an anomaly. This is the GOP's national platform. Why are people voting in the GOP in supposedly more sane areas? Do they want bounty system placed on women who get abortions? Because that is what the GOP would do on a national level.
Yeah.
It's not a scare tactic or fear mongering on my part. I'm just relaying what the GOP would do on a national level. They are that terrible and that reactionary.
Yep.
It is not and I wrote, I'm going to vote against one party because they didn't give me what they promised immediately, and vote in another party that literally promises nothing except eroding the electoral system and further burning our world to the nothing. Nice nihilistic country we live in.
It's really bizarre. I mean, the depths to which people will support a party that's like completely opposed to their best interests, but it's happened, and I'll tell you, man, last night was very scary because it happened a lot all over the place.
Yeah, I wrote, how did Virginia, that went over 10% to Biden, hand the governorship to a Trump-loving Republican? Yeah. If the Dem candidate was good or not, you don't hand over power to spite the Dems to the modern-day reactionary January 6th supporting GOP fascist party. Makes no sense at all. It doesn't make any sense. Like, there's something else going on. People, I'm like, how do you lose in Virginia, like Ralph Northam had some of his issues with like
Sure.
the book. Hey, guess what though? When a Republican's in power and a book leaks about that, they ain't gonna give one fucking shit.
No.
They're not gonna talk about forcing him to resign, telling him to leave. No, they're not gonna do any of that. They're gonna talk about how bad cancel culture is or something, and they're gonna use it as like their resolve or whatever. And I'm like, supposedly he did good stuff for the state. Like teachers supposedly got a raise in the first time in like decades there. Like all these things, like you got to look at like you only have one term in Virginia.
Yeah, that's crazy.
But like, so you got to hope that like the Dem candidate is similar to the last Dem candidate, so you treat it as like a second term. So from what I heard, he wasn't like a terrible governor. I mean,
No.
I'm that in tuned with Virginia politics, but like, why would you like? I don't even get it. Like, why would you? It's like we have all these issues going on, and yes, cinema and mansions suck, but that's the Senate and everything. You still have state politics you have to deal with. Why would you let the GOP come into power? And what are they? What is the GOP offering? Nothing.
It was entirely.
Bobbles?
This guy in Virginia said basically his whole platform was, I'm gonna like gut property taxes.
I mean, I could see that being but who says he's going to? Everything comes at a cost.
I'm gonna gut.
And something else will go up.
Property taxes fund public schools, and so they love starving public schools.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna cut property taxes and no more coronavirus restrictions and no more critical.
Yeah, and that's another one too. So you get a bunch of reactionary chuds.
Yep.
And there's more than in Virginia than there are in California.
Well,
and
I'll tell you, it was
not, isn't a blue. It was never a blue bastion. It was becoming a blue state because it went handily to the Dems for a while now.
Yeah, it was blue for a while. I mean,
is the state house still Democrat run though? Because that's important.
Yeah, I don't. That's a good question.
Because the delegates and everything changed over to Republican, then that state's fucked.
Yeah, the Republicans won at least 50 House seats in Virginia last night. So my guess is that they're no longer. They're no longer. The speaker is currently a Democrat. It looks like it went from Democrat to Republican. I don't know that for a fact. There's 100 seats in it. If they're saying Republicans won 50 plus, then I don't see how the Democrats hold it.
Yeah, I mean that means they had other seats to begin with.
Yeah.
I mean, but like, what did the Republican? Okay, so the Republicans came in and said we're going to lift COVID restrictions. Okay, that's great, but like, we're still in the middle of a public health crisis. But like, what else do they offer? And the joke is like, this guy's like this guy's a millionaire. He's like a super rich millionaire. Like, he's not some average Joe. You can't say he's like a populist or this shit. And like, and now also, I'm sorry, but now it's time to like, this is what the Democrats need to do is, they thought they could like tie Donald Trump. They thought that would work, but I don't know.
It did not work.
Bullshit from the Lincoln Project that got involved. They did something.
Yeah, apparently the Lincoln Project sent some people to the Republican guys' rally dressed as the Tiki Torch racists.
Yeah, to do that, they're already there.
Well, yeah, I mean, I get how that's kind of like a clever little thing, but like it clearly backfired. If you have a good message, that's the thing, is like Democrats should run with a good message, progressive message. You don't need to like fucking bring up Trump or this, that, or whatever. You just need to say, this is what we believe in.
This is the GOP. See, the thing that pissed me off about the last election was they tried to do this whole thing of like, yeah, Trump sucks, and we know that he sucks, but the entire GOP sucks. Yeah. It's not, Trump sucks and he'll go away and these people will become sane. And no, they were crazy, and they that's why Trump won. It wasn't because they fell for his charming personality. He said all the stuff they already were saying for years with the Tea Party and under Bush.
Yeah.
He just elevated it. But they are that party. You gotta treat like you can't just tie it just to Trump. And like, yeah, like Terry McAuliffe's been around. He's like a dinosaur in the Democratic Party. The thing, and I get that, but like, you don't hand the keys to the modern day fascist GOP party because you're not crazy about like the more centrist Democrats. Like,
Well,
okay, what? So now you go from like being upset that you're only getting like means tested, they call it, or like smaller doses. But guess what? Now you get nothing. Now you get nothing. You
yeah.
get CRT bullshit. You get anti-trans bullshit. You get fucking. Now you get some dumb flag burning shit. You get anti-COVID shit. Like, it's
Well,
just chaos.
There was one guy who tweeted, I retweeted it, and he said basically that like 55% of 55% of white women in Virginia voted for a Republican literally a day after the Republicans spent the entire day in the Supreme Court arguing that abortion should be outlawed.
White women suck.
Yeah,
No offense.
well, it
They
is
do.
weird.
They
Like,
have a history in this country of sucking. You know what? Ask Emmett Till's mom
yeah, right.
how much white women suck.
Yeah,
Like,
it is a weird dynamic. I mean,
no
like, I know that
to,
there's like a
no offense
patriarchy.
to reactionary racist white women out there. I don't want to. I know it's a big chunk of the YS Goat audience. And,
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you, it really does seem to be driven that way. It's frustrating too, because like, this is a group of people that should want things like equal pay for equal work, that should want things like family leave, that should want things like, frankly, paternity leave, so that they can get help, with that. And they seem to vote against it all the time. And I guess it's like somewhat presumptuous.
A lot of these idiots will be like, "Oh, well, I had," like, they won't admit the fact that they had tons of help with everything that got them in life. They probably had help raising their kids. They probably had grandparents that helped, or they had family or help or whatever. There's like lots of factors involved. They are either middle class or upper middle class, so financially they're able to like afford a decent daycare and not make that much of a dent in their pocket that they give a shit. It's all kinds of things. These people, like, I just don't get it. I don't get how you can go from one. It's like I just feel like 5% of the Democrats stayed home and made a difference. Like, what was the total on the end?
The total vote, the guy won like 51 to 49 or something.
That's insane right there. There you go. 5% of Democrats stayed home. And it's like, I mean, like, I don't know. This is the thing that drives me nuts about politics. And you can argue with someone, they're like, well, you're just gonna keep voting for the Democrats. Yes. Yes, because the other side is that terrible. Yes, I think the Democrats suck on so many, like on a national level, Democratic Party sucks because it's Amy Klobuchar. It's people like, what's that guy's name? Chuck Schumer.
Nancy
Pelosi. It's these like corporate dinosaurs. They suck, but they are infinitely better than McConnell and any of these other chuds.
It's like saying, like, well, our options for dinner tonight are Taco Bell and a pile of dog shit, and it's like, well, you may not want Taco Bell, you may not even like Mexican food, but like, that's going to be a better option than the dog shit. It just is.
Right. I mean, like, really, or not even dog shit, because you could say at least you can consume it. Like you might get environmental. How about this? Taco Bell or like a cinder block.
Yeah, a bag of crushed glass.
No, because that is at least you got to eat a window. You got to here's a sheet of glass, because at least you broke it up into pieces, like crunch on it a bit. It's still, you might die. You probably will. It's consumable in some way, but no. Here's a window. Here's your dinner. Wait, what is this? Did my baby put in the dinner? No, this is it.
Well, here's an even more troubling statistics. It's kind of segues into the next subtopic, is that in Virginia, of all those, and I just looked, it looks like the Democrats still may hold the House, the Virginia House.
That's a big deal.
It is a huge
very important they hold that, because
but three of the Republicans that were elected in Virginia yesterday were at the January 6th insurrection. And
that's insane. And
still
Virginia
to this
is
day,
DC is pretty much it's like DC is Maryland and Virginia.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah. Chesapeake Bay region is that whole area. So yeah, the a few MAGA chud candidates that literally participated in an insurrection against the government were just elected. They're little mini Boberts.
I don't even get that. Like, these people should be in jail, or like, that's just insanity right there. I really, you know what the funny thing is? You know what they should do? The outgoing Democratic governor, they won't. They're not going to do it.
No, they won't.
They should basically strip the Republican of all the powers. They should do it just like the way the Republicans do it, the Democrats. They did it in Wisconsin.
They should say, you know what? We are refusing to certify the election. We think there was some shenanigans.
Fuck it, do it. Be like, hey, we're just doing what you guys did, and just keep nailing that home.
Well,
hey, they're not going to do that.
No, they won't do that.
They're not going to do that because they actually care about the system, and the others don't. They're chaos agents. They're put in there to destroy the system.
I'll tell you, and the New Jersey governor won by like an inch. And I'll tell you,
that's a scary one too.
The Democrat in Virginia, that should have been a safe blue seat. And the Democrat in New Jersey should have been a safe blue seat.
Supposedly, this guy is like, from what I heard, I don't know enough about New Jersey politics, but I heard he's not hated. Supposedly, he does a decent job. So something is going on. It's like, listen, this whole infrastructure bill, it is demoralizing. It is demoralizing seeing every day Manchin and Sinema just trounce the entire Democratic Party, and it turns people off in politics. It's that kind of stuff, because it's like, and then it makes you paranoid, and you're like, well, if it wasn't down, there would always be a Manchin and a Sinema that will fuck everything up, because this is how this country is designed. I mean, maybe, I don't know. I mean, it is. I'm sorry. At the end of the day, this country is really just a bunch of series of corporations, and it will never have, this. Like, look what happened in. Do you see what happened in Buffalo?
Yeah, that was crazy. That was
this woman won the primary. She happened to be like a socialist.
Yes.
She's a Democrat, right? But she's a socialist, and the whole party just abandoned her. And then basically a writing candidate won. I think he was a Democrat. I don't know.
It was
but like a more corporate.
There was a kind of a status quo Democrat that was the incumbent, and then the woman primaried him and won, and then she was the new Democratic candidate. But then the centrist Democrat that got beat in the primary ran against her as a write-in and beat her. And he worked with the Republicans to beat her. So the mayor of Buffalo is still a Democrat, but it is it's like when
like he sided with like. Go ahead.
It's basically like, remember when Joe Lieberman got primaried and beat by, who was that? Ned Lamont?
Yeah, but he didn't. He said he wasn't. He was Ned Lamont. He ran as independent. He just claimed he was going to caucus with the Democrats.
Yes, and he did.
He mostly did, but it was still like he supported John McCain for president in 2000. Just 2 years later, he was not. He sucks. Joe Lieberman.
Yeah.
Joe Lieberman's a shitbag. That man's like one of the worst people. He's an example of why people think Democrats suck. It's Joe Lieberman. But Joe Lieberman hasn't been a real Democrat for like ever.
Right. Yeah. That is true. But like, it's the same thing with. Oh, go ahead.
No, I just remember when he was running in the 2004 primaries, and he was like such a weasel. Like he was such a weasel, and he was like pro-Iraq war, and he was just making the Democrats look bad. That's all he was doing. Like, that was his main objective. They had no intention of winning. It was just to make them look like they were traitors to the country because they didn't support the Iraq war.
He loved the Iraq war.
Because he's a chicken hawk. I mean,
well, I'll tell you, it was a really rough night for Democrats. I'll tell you that the worst thing for me was knowing that, and maybe look, maybe this will turn out to be a good thing, because fuck, New Jersey and Virginia should have been blue
New Jersey
waves.
shouldn't even be a
No.
threat. Now, listen, Republicans have won. I brought up Chris Christie before.
Yeah, sure.
He was governor for 8 years.
Yeah.
Republicans could win. My thing is, like, you're talking now, this isn't just like Republicans anymore, like old school Republicans.
No.
Every Republican that is like literally part of this weird, like, pro January 6th.
Yep.
No, let's move on. Like, here's the difference though between. This is the difference between okay, so in 2017, there were a bunch of elections, and it started to make Trump look bad. This was a year before 28, obviously,
Right.
2018 election where the House went to the Democrats and everything. So it created this narrative of a blue wave. But the difference is that the Democrats as a party, as their platform, are supposed to offer things that people like.
Yeah.
And the Republicans were on track to lose because when they get in power, they don't do anything good for anybody except their own very exclusive special interest.
Mm-hmm.
Like, even like as much as it pissed me off with Cinema Mansion, it's like the idea that are even talking about doing anything in the government that will amount to anything that's not a tax cut, not some fake bullshit CRT thing. Like, it was depressing seeing that. Like, I don't think it's the end of the world that Virginia went to Republican. Thankfully, they only have one term. Well, it sucks, but I'm not shocked. I'm also not shocked. Virginia is not, Virginia's the South. I don't know if you ever met people from Virginia.
Yeah, well, I have friends from Virginia, and I have a buddy from Virginia, still lives in Virginia, that's pretty political. And I would say he probably was a libertarian for a long time and then became a Democrat because the Libertarian Party just drifted further and further off into the ether,
Yeah.
I think he probably
grew up.
Yeah, well, I was going to say he's probably like a libertarian in college. And then as life went on, he's like, no, I think I'm a Democrat. So
I know someone like that who he claimed he was like a libertarian when in college and progressive now.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think there's very few states that are safe. Like, I'm going to say that California is safe, Democratic, and like Alabama is probably safe, Republican. I mean, but like a lot of states can turn here and there. Like you saw Doug Jones win in Alabama. It was a crazy little.
Yeah, but that was a real fluke.
Yeah,
that was a moment. It was a special election. It was not a regular election. It was a special. So all eyes were on it. The guy who won the opportunity to win on the Republican side was a full-on nut job.
Yeah, he was a child fucker. Yeah,
and also a history of being a child sex pest. And I don't know if he was he probably was. Who knows? It's Alabama. 13 is a consensual. Well, going back to libertarians, they said, how you know if someone's a libertarian is if they spend like half their time talking about consent age.
Oh, Jesus. Well,
that's like a voting issue for them.
I'm just saying that like things happen. But like Virginia should have been reliably blue. Virginia's like been reliably blue as of late.
It doesn't make any sense though how Biden wins by 10% in 10% of the vote. He wins that in Virginia in the election, and then it goes to where like some no-name Republican. Like, who is this guy?
Well, he apparently, and I've read a lot about him lately, and I can't tell if they're trying to make him seem better now that he's won. But a lot of people are saying that he wasn't really a huge Trump person. Trump kind of latched onto him. He didn't latch onto Trump. And they're comparing him to kind of a Mitt Romney Republican.
Okay, that he sucks too. I mean,
like, look, he's a Republican, so he sucks. But a lot of people are saying that he's kind of a practical businessman. Blah, blah, blah.
He came in here and he said that he's gonna strip away reproductive rights.
Yep. He wants to ban abortion.
He said, I'm gonna get rid of basically COVID restrictions and basically endangered kids.
Yep. He wants
a lot of kids will be vaccinated before this guy takes power in January.
Yeah, he wants to keep Confederate monuments. Any shitty thing you can think
After
of.
Charlottesville, of
Yeah.
all things, too. Charlottesville was in Virginia.
Yeah. Yeah.
So this guy sucks. He's worse than Mitt Romney because even Mitt Romney was able to, like, on a cultural level, able to recognize certain things. Like when the whole George Floyd thing, he like marched with people and all that. I mean, Mitt Romney sucks, but at least he didn't, like, he was able to distance himself from, like, the right wing, what is the current right wing culture. He was able to kind of like put on a actual policy. He's no different.
Yeah, I don't like Mitt Romney at all, but I don't have a huge problem with him. You know, he's
that fucking cringe video he did with Cinema where he was Ted Lasso.
Yeah. Oof.
I never want to watch Ted Lasso now. That like, I haven't seen it yet, and man, that's Jason Sudeikis should sue him. I guess it's actually kind of funny if you think about it though, because Jason Sudeikis plays Mitt Romney all the time.
Oh yeah, yeah, that's funny.
That is actually, now that I think about it, that is pretty. Oh, old Mitt, you are clever, one clever cat, buddy.
Look, if Mitt Romney were the type of Republican we were dealing with on a regular basis, I would just disagree with him a lot, you know, like, and not like him, you know. But I wouldn't
worry about like him tweeting, all right, everyone, get your tiki torches, and we're gonna make sure this Confederate monument doesn't come down. You know, he might say something stupid like, "Oh, we should respect our history," or something.
Well, I'll tell you this, and this is kind of like, I know we're getting progressively worse and worse. The thing, and the last thing I'll talk about with the elections, the thing that troubled me most is that there were a ton of school boards that went full QAnon.
We're not shocked about that one. That one, not shocked at all.
The one we were talking about in Southlake, they had a special election and they had two candidates. They had a former school teacher who was kind of a nice, you know, decent appearing, I don't mean physically, I mean just like looking like a nice normal person. And then a QAnon nut job, you know, that was like fully vetted by the Texas True Project or whatever, and was so angry about CRT, and they elected that guy in a landslide, you know. So now the Southlake School Board is full chud, and they're going to be terrible and more terrible. And there were a ton of school boards that went full. The Republicans have been targeting school boards for a long time. They're really good at it. The Democrats never do that. If you find a Democrat wanting to run, the ones that are going to win races always try for something maybe a little higher than they should at first. I don't know. I'll tell you that if the Democrats want to get real about not having to deal with these tenuous majorities, then they should put a ton of effort into school board races, and then give it 10 years and you'll be in good shape.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I know what you mean. I mean, I think it's just amazing how every election the Republicans are able to come up with something so stupid. Everyone laughs in the beginning, and it works on dumb shit. It works on reactionary shitheads, like the whole CRT thing, the whole cancel culture thing. Like we laugh at it. We're like, you're ridiculous. No, that shit works because they target people who don't pay attention to anything, who don't really care. People who like literally like it's like voting is like you only think about it when you have to vote, or around the time you don't think. It's like, you know, Christmas season, it's you know, Halloween season, it's Arbor Day season. Love Arbor Day season. You know what I mean? But like it's almost like Party City calendar. Like, okay, now it's St. Patty's Day, now it's this. And I think a lot of people don't think about that shit. They look at and they're like, what they do pay attention to is dumb shit like cancel culture, CRT. They think trans people are weird. They believe what Dave Chappelle says, which is like, the trans people are preventing you from saying what you want to say, and it's like the most strange thing ever.
You know, with Republicans, I don't think that the average Republican votes like that. I think, and this is just my like off the top of my head thought about it, I think that if you found that a lot of Republicans find one issue that they go all in on, and then they just sort of deal with the rest. Like, I'll bet you there's probably plenty of Republicans that don't necessarily have a problem with all sorts of decent issues. But the Republicans have found that one issue that rings their bell, and they're gonna be a single issue vote. They do that great with abortion.
Yeah.
There's plenty of like hardcore Catholics that believe that they're against the death penalty. They might be against wars. They might be in favor of all sorts of great things, but they're super against abortion. And so they're willing to overlook everything else as long as they get to vote against abortion.
Yeah, I mean, I guess the stuff I brought up, it just ends up sucking all the wind out of everything.
That's true.
And, the media like kind of goes along with it, like, and the people so-called like progressive left, whatever, they're guilty of it because they end up like repeating it, or like even if they're making fun of it, it's still, you're giving it oxygen. Like
you're getting it in the public sphere.
Like you're making it the conversation. Like that's the whole thing. It's like, again, you just brought up Chappelle, but like that's an example. He doesn't give a fuck about getting canceled. No. He doesn't want to be irrelevant.
Right. Yes.
No, because people are talking about him constantly. Like him and Rogan just did like a lot. They just sold out like a whole bunch of tours. Oh yeah, they truly were canceled. You know what I mean? Like it's nonsense. And the Republicans, it's like a weird, and the Republicans tap into that. Again, I just don't understand. Like, I don't live in Virginia, so I don't get it. It's like the same thing in Maine. They voted for that fucking
LePage, yeah.
No, I'm talking about for Senate last time.
Not Dukakis.
Dukakis. What's her talks like this?
Susan Collins.
Yeah, like that was supposed to be an easy one.
Yeah.
And some people say like, oh yeah, that woman who ran against her wasn't great. I'm like, who gives a shit?
Right. Yeah.
Get rid of Susan Collins. Like, worry about, you know what? You get rid of the Republican, and then you primary the Democrat.
Yeah.
You don't like. That's how it works. Again, it's like what you said. We could have either Taco Bell, or we could eat a bag of glass.
Yeah, it's not hard.
Now there has been cases supposedly of glass being found in Taco Bell. So that's what we call the cinema effect.
Right. Yes, that is. Yeah.
All right. So that was fun. And I guess we talked about school boards. I mean, and we knew that they were going to make school boards basically a recruiting tool to get people to vote. And again, it's like it's amazing how this country is like the most mild inconvenience. And then people say like, I lost business, I lost this, I lost that because of this thing. Okay, well, guess what? If we lived in a country that actually provided more for its people, you would realize like then the shutdown wouldn't have been as bad. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's like, true.
You hear stories, I know it's like different country. I think it was like Vietnam or something. It's like they provided meals to everybody when they were when the major shutdowns were going down.
Yeah.
But again, that would never work here. Like, what do you mean? I want to have fucking Texas Roadhouse tonight if they eat this fucking Meals on Wheels shit. I mean,
well,
like, it's because the rugged individualism of America.
Yeah, it is tough. I mean, like it was a unique situation. It was really fucked up by Trump and an incompetent Trump administration, and then I don't know. It's just such an odd confluence. I will say I've always felt sympathetic to the, single mom with 2 kids, and she works, waiting tables or whatever, and all of a sudden, like, her job can't open and she has nowhere for her kids to go. I mean, I get how that sucks.
But like her job should be able to provide to them.
Yes,
government should be able to provide to the job. But instead what happens is what we find out is like, especially with these so-called
the PPP loans.
That a lot of these people, because we are a bunch of greedy fucks, and a lot of these companies, they use it to either hoard the money or to claim and to make sure not to hire new people to claim that no one wants to work. We talked about that in the last podcast.
That was crazy.
Our country is not designed in any way for that woman who, the single mom with the 2 kids who has to work like a dine-in, whatever, made up, Joe lunch pail, or that type of story.
Yep.
It's not designed to keep them safe during a public health crisis. This country, the rugged individualism that Bernie Sanders, I love. He said it's like he talks about socialism is like we have socialism, but it's for the corporations and the rich.
Oh yeah,
and we have rugged individualism for everyone else.
Right. It's yeah. I mean, that's it in a nutshell.
Hey, just pull yourself on your bootstraps, and you're being told that by like a fifth legacy. What's that school? Yale.
Yeah.
Fifth legacy Yale. You know what I mean? It's
well,
like
I do that. One of the things I love to do on Twitter is whenever I see a company talking about how they're going to have to raise prices or how they're going to have to lay off people or how they're going to have to do this or that, I always Google the CEO's salary and divide it by 2,000, and that's how much they make per hour. And invariably, all these bastards that are talking about having to raise the price of diapers or having to lay people off, or they routinely make like $8,000 an hour.
And on top of it, you should also look was like how often do they get a raise, or I mean?
Or what they own, or what
what some of these guys do is sneaky. Like supposedly, like the joke is Jeff Bezos makes like $80,000 a year.
Yeah,
so it's all in.
Oh yeah, I include that in my when I look at their pay. I usually include like what stocks they got or whatever.
So under Trump, when the whole big scam, the whole tax scam kicked there, the biggest tax cut was given to all these companies. Like the biggest in my lifetime, probably in the country in decades. I mean, fuck, you go back to like Eisenhower. I don't even know what the tax rate was, like totally different, but you still had rich people.
Yeah.
Had really wealthy people. They were still wealthy. They may not like paying the taxes, but they did it.
Mm-hmm.
I guess they fought super hard to make sure their grandkids didn't have to pay those taxes. But what did they do with that money? Everyone said that they'll invest in their companies, they'll get jobs, they'll do that. No, they didn't do any of that. They bought back their stock.
Yeah,
which is like should be illegal because it raises the price of the stock and makes it more valuable. They just bought. That's what they did with their newfound money. Is they went back and bought their. They didn't reinvest in the company. Did you see? Speaking of chuds, did you see Elon Musk the other day saying he was going to donate like $6 billion to like India or something to do with like hunger?
He's going to solve world hunger. Yeah.
Yeah, but then it was like he's going to sell a stock and do that, or it just got worse. It's like this guy is such a lying piece of shit. This is like when he said he was going to send ventilators and he ended up like humidifiers or some shit. He just said like boxes. Like
I saw like undersecretary at the UN basically tweeted, if Elon Musk donated 2% of his wealth, we could end world hunger. And then Elon Musk is like, oh well, never mind. Like. Okay.
He sucks. He's the worst. Yeah. He really is. And what makes him the worst though is that there's like a fanatic army of people that love him.
Yeah, that's galling.
He's like he's the one that's gonna raise them out of poverty. He's the one that's gonna like, hey, just buy NFTs and crypto, bro. You'll be fine.
Yeah.
Did you see there was like some big NFT scam recently.
Yeah, that the guy Trolley from Elijah Wood, Frodo Baggins bought
some. Elijah Wood bought an NFT and then found out the NFT was based on like a super racist artist.
Yeah, he bought these this NFT, and then people started posting like, "Hey, check out these. When are you going to turn these into NFTs?" And they were like horribly racist cartoons. Not like
supposedly like to the point where like this guy's grandkid like denounced him or something.
Not these aren't like, oh, I could see how that's racist or what. These were like virulently, like comically racist.
They were racist for the time.
Yeah. They were like, even back then you'd be like, oh, that's fucking racist. And then I guess Elijah Wood sold him at a terrible loss for him. And the guy's kid came out And it was kind of a bullshit apology. He's like, look, this is horrible. We're real embarrassed by what my dad did, blah, blah, blah. But this was the culture that Larry Flint had at Hustler at the time. And blah, and he kind of like turned it around. So it was like,
I mean, it was based on work for hire art for Hustler.
yeah.
Well, he has a fucking solid point.
Well, I know, but like you still like you wouldn't do work for hire like that. Like I'm guessing. Like so.
I mean, I wouldn't, but I imagine people in the 70s who need work.
Sure.
And again, you got to understand, you got someone in the 70s who was raised probably in the 40s and 50s.
That's true, yeah.
Where Amos and Andy was on, and they got to see the original cut of Fantasia, and it was normalized, and they would eat candy that said words I will not say on it.
Yeah.
Like, that's not an excuse.
Right.
The world
it was different. Yeah.
Like all these, like, yeah, I mean, it's crazy how different it was when you think about it. I think it's disgusting. The person clearly had terrible thoughts. You have to be willing. You have to, like, I've had people ask me to do work, nothing as bad as that. And I've like shot it down. I'm like, I'm not doing it. Like, I don't want to. I don't want to try, fuck that. So yeah, you're right. There is a thought, but I don't know, whatever.
Well, anyway.
I know what you mean. He's trying to make excuse and blame it on the culture.
Yeah. I don't know. Whatever. I mean, like, I
think it's really funny. It's like another reason why I don't like those things. It's just another, like, you see like this horrible artwork recently. It's horrible. These like monkeys and lions.
Yeah.
You ever seen that? Like,
yep.
You're like, I own 6 of them. They're awful. They're so bad. Listen, I don't like saying stuff about artwork as an artist. I try to like, these are shit.
Yeah, a lot of them look like
artwork. There's something else. They're fucking pogs. They're fucking, they're like holographic trading cards.
Yeah, a lot of them are very bad, very poorly done. Yeah, I don't know.
I'll tell you this. I really don't want to talk about crypto during this, even though I know you would love it.
Oh yeah.
Are you
Moonshot, baby?
Moonshot, go moonshot. Yeah. The one funny thing I still love about crypto and crypto people, and I don't really love it, it's more like I find funny, is that you'll always see these people, especially the ones that like turn into religion, like the way they talk about, like, you're still using fiat currency. I'm like, what the fuck? Fiat currency? What the fuck are you talking about? And I always feel like this always leads to like evil rich Jews or something. I don't know. I'm not even kidding. There's definitely
I think there's definitely a segment of the population.
There's a lot of, first of all, most of like right-wing personalities push crypto hard.
A lot of people that do crypto have that racist frog as their they have a version of Pepe as their avatar.
I mean, it doesn't shock me. Remember when like they're always trying to find things and claim the government, the money's going to collapse, and they always do it under a Democratic president. They say that our economy is going to collapse. Fucking what's his face did it the entire time of Obama was president. He would sell overpriced gold to his listeners. Glenn Beck.
Oh yeah, that was a big racket.
And it's just another one of these things, because here's the funny thing about crypto that I find, and I know you talk about the uses, all that, and that's nice, but the reality is that, and you gotta admit, you're guilty of this too. You buy crypto with fiat currency, right? And then you have it, and most people just let it sit. They're not really using it. They're not like, I will pay you 1.3.2 of my Bitcoin for that, whatever the fuck that's worth today, No, they're waiting for it, and then they find out that the money they spent doubled, tripled, and they're excited. But they're excited over fiat currency.
Yeah, that is true.
And I find that really funny. It's like, oh, shut the fuck up. Not you. I mean, like, shut the fuck up. You're just like, this is a collectible, or an investment, or like a stock, whatever, and you're excited because it has a monetary value based on actual currency. And then it's going to get to the point at one point where you're going to be like, you know what? Fuck it. I'm going to sell this finally. It's at a point I could use the money. It's at a point where I could use this for life-changing thing. And now I'm going to exchange that money for the money that it
Yeah.
claims
Is worthless. Yeah.
you still need the money to make the other thing have value, any kind. It's the most insane thing. Like, I couldn't even understand how gold could hold value over, like, if something were to happen in our society and we
Sure.
needed something or money, there was massive inflation. I don't think crypto's the answer. It's probably things like hard items like that,
Yeah.
like precious metals and shit like that actually does have true rarity. I don't know.
I will say, and I'll just keep it real brief because I also don't want to spend a ton of time on it. I think that, like, if you look at the majority of places where crypto is doing well as a currency, it's places like Asia, like India, and parts of like Asia Minor and Africa, and stuff that's been like traditionally locked out of Western banking. And that's kind of like a cool, empowering thing. And if you want to do business with someone in like Lagos, or if you want to do business with someone in, parts of Vietnam, maybe North Vietnam or whatever, then that's probably going to be a pretty effective, efficient way of doing business with them. It is kind of a cool thing. And I think the American or Western way of looking at crypto is real juvenile. It is. But like on a global level, I think it's got a good future, So we'll see.
But I mean, their currencies weren't like didn't have a lot of strength in them to begin with.
So, right, they didn't. That was the thing, is it solves a real problem for them. In a place.
That's a different solution. But like I said, most of the people get, it's like the same thing. It's like, if I buy a comic and for like years ago and I have it, it's not worth like infinite and way more.
Yeah.
I'm not going to the store and being like, here's my second appearance of Wolverine to buy this car. The guy would be like, I'm more of a Batman guy.
Well, yeah, I think that most of the people I hear talking about cryptocurrency on Twitter and whatnot are really just like kids, that are kind of like mouthing off about
stories like this kid is now a millionaire because he bought 4 NFTs a year ago. And it's like, did he cash them in?
Yeah, right.
Well, that's the other thing too. I don't get. I see all these people like claim they made all this money and stuff like that, but like, did you actually cash it in yet, though? Or are you doing anything with it? Because
yeah, that's a good point.
That's a different story.
A lot of that's the weird part, is a lot of people will get loans against their cryptocurrency, and that's real scary, because if the cryptocurrency drops in value, then you essentially have, like, let's say I had $50,000 worth of Bitcoin, and a weird unregulated bank gave me a loan for $50,000 based off of my
Bitcoin.
Yeah,
what it was worth at that time.
Right. And all of a sudden Bitcoin plummets, and they can basically do like a margin call on me and ask for my house. Like it's scary.
Lots of like really fucked up crypto grips out there like that.
Oh yeah.
It does prey on like minorities. It preys on like people, I don't know. It's interesting. It's an early stage. I truly believe this is, no, I'm not going to go to the store in a year and buy milk with 0.2 Ethereum or whatever the fuck it is.
Probably not.
No. Now, I'm sure there's going to be ways that it'll be incorporated into our finance in some way.
Probably.
But like you said, that's super fucked up. That definitely needs to be regulated. Like, you get a loan based on what it's worth. Dude, it fluctuates like every fucking day.
Yeah. Well, the thing is, a lot of people got involved in it over the last year, and it's generally done really well over the last year. So no one is seeing these downsides. No one has lived through.
Dropped down to, it went from 60,000 something, and then it dropped below 30.
Yeah, but then it popped up again in the next few days.
And then and now it's dropping again. I've been watching it.
I know, but I'm just saying, like, I agree with you. I just don't think people have seen the downsides of it yet.
Like, that far down. But I mean, I don't know, man. 30,000 is a lot of money to some people. Especially
that's a lot of money for anybody. Anybody I know.
You're like, not me. I'm a crypto millionaire.
Well, speaking of things that are kind of weird and dangerous and scary, we had a giant QAnon rally here in the Dallas area the other day. They
Yeah, it was
gathered.
in eight. Well, there was one like 2 nights ago. There was one in AT&T Plaza or whatever.
Yep.
I'm sure Time Warner AT&T is really happy that it went on there.
Sure.
They do a lot of promotion stuff there. Like if it's like a new DC movie coming out, you should like go
Okay.
back. I want to see some cool shit. Like we went down there one time when Wonder Woman 84 came out, and they had
Yeah.
all kinds of memorabilia and stuff. The AT&T store like created like a fake comic store and like had like all these props, and it was really cool. But then they also kind of bothered you to get an AT&T phone, which was kind of
Oh.
annoying. But I wonder if they did that with the QAnon people that showed up there. They're like, "Hey, you happy with your phone?" And then they start going on some bizarre screed.
Right.
So, yeah, they went down to Dallas and they claimed that JFK Jr. was going to show up at Dealey Plaza.
Yeah.
Right? That's where JFK Sr.
was shot
assassinated.
And
killed. As it says in the Misfits song.
Yeah.
Misfits song. If you need a history lesson, just listen to that song.
Sure.
You'll totally understand. The president's dead, Jackie, yo. Oh, Jackie, yo. It's all there. It's all there. The lesson plan. Yeah, that's insane. They really said that JFK Jr. was going to show up. I don't know what time it was at, but they all flocked to Dealey Plaza, and they all stood around. Some cars drove by that were part of it. I think they reenacted like JFK car going. I don't think they didn't assassinate anyone, as far as I remember. No,
it's so bizarre. It's so bizarre.
It's super fucking weird. And I'm so like again, we laugh at it, but like it's fucked up. Actually, it's not. This isn't funny. These are people's family members. These people brought families that brought their kids there.
Yeah.
Like, hey son, hey daughter, what do we do? You want to do something fun today? Sure. What do you want to do? I don't know. Let's go to like round one or one of those video game places. I have a better idea. JFK Jr. Is being reincarnated today and showing up at Dealey Plaza. What? Dad, I want McDonald's.
None of it even makes sense. I mean, it'd make more sense if like Reagan was gonna get ring. I mean, like, but like JFK Jr. It's just such a bizarre.
I don't even understand. And then JFK Jr. was coming back, and then he was gonna be Donald Trump's running mate in 2024. That is exactly what they said.
Yeah, that's like their big theory.
So I watched a couple of like things over the past like what's this guy's name? He did like All Gas No Breaks, and now he has like some other show.
Oh yeah, he's great.
He went, I forgot what his new show is called. He calls it like Channel 5 or something. It's kind of funny. But he goes to like those events, and he went to a QAnon rally. This was like a month or two ago.
Yeah.
And he talks to them, they bring up things, and everything's always based on like someone famous. So he's talking to these women, and they're talking about how Prince was killed because he was going to reveal that Hillary Clinton had a sex ring. And then they bring up Chester Binghamton or something from fucking Lincoln Park.
Yeah.
The guy who killed himself and supposedly didn't kill himself because he was going to reveal. And they said, and he brings up a good point and says that with these like weird conspiracy cults and everything, is what they do is they use like celebrity names, like people know who Prince is.
Sure.
I guess more people know who Lincoln Park is too, but Prince was a huge name. And JFK Jr. that's like it's political royalty, right?
Oh yeah.
You use those names, and that's what attracts these morons, and that sucks them into it and then they start saying he said it's like they do it on purpose. Like they use like celebrity names and say like, oh, they were part of this and they were killed, and you have some kind of emotional attachment to them because you either like one of their songs or you knew about, you know what I mean? These people affected you in some way, some form.
Yeah, it gets you in the mood to believe.
But again, it's like the same thing with Republicans running on like Cat in a Hat.
Yeah.
Aunt Jemima and the butter, that changing the butter and doing all those things because those are things they know affect people emotionally.
Yeah, that
There's
is
an
true.
emotional effect, which is hysterical because they always say things like, "Oh, you're being too emotional," but they
Facts,
literally
not
all
feelings.
their
Yeah.
politics are driven on emotion. I mean, it is. It's like the same thing with like Boba Fett. Like, what if Disney were to come out today and say, "No, Boba Fett is actually trans"?
Right.
People
Yeah. Yeah.
would like lose their mind. They would lose their mind. I'm like, well,
Yeah.
why can't she be? Why can't she be? Like, why not? One, she's not real.
Yeah. Right. There's that.
That's one. That's a big issue. That's a big one right there. And two, for 4 decades, she's just been under a mask the entire time. I don't know. It could have been.
Yeah, who knows? Yeah.
It's a big deal. I'm glad. Hey, I support Boba Fett. I hope that she gets to. I know some people be like, "Oh, yeah, whatever," but the point is,
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
there's an emotional attachment, and they use that with the QAnon people too. There's an emotional
Yeah.
attachment, and I
I've
just I didn't see this coming, and it's just weird because it's like it's only like 30 minutes away from us.
yeah.
All this shit going on, like we literally could have just gotten in the car and drove up there today and been like, "What's
Oh,
going
could have
on?"
been there.
It's only like, yeah, no traffic. Get there in like less than a half hour. It's going
Well,
5.
I would have been tempted to. I mean, like, I do think that you run the risk of like some weird violence happening at some of those rallies. Although it's fascinating. I mean, I really do think it's fascinating.
And then all of a sudden, a month later, you're like part of it.
Well,
You're like, I'm
yeah.
waiting for your cue drop, and like,
I mean, I would like to think that I could steel myself against their wiles,
I don't know. But they
but
bring up like, I'm trying to think of like, what music you like. Who's that guy we saw that one time?
oh, like Nick Cave or Robin
Oh,
Hitchcock.
yeah, yeah. And
Uh,
they talk about like how Nick Cave was trying to reveal like an underground section. You'd probably be like, yeah, I could see him claiming that. Like, I haven't seen anything to me.
Well, yeah, I don't know. I mean, I do read these heartbreaking stories of like middle-aged people who have like relatives that have gone into QAnon and they're not coming back out. Um, I don't know. It's
It's like
tough.
even like again that guy from the No Gas or Bricks, he did like one thing where he talked about like there was a big QAnon rally at a hotel like at the Omni,
Yeah,
not like it was like some it didn't quote QAnon, but like fucking Michael Flynn was
for
there.
sure. Yeah.
That woman was there. What's her name? Lynn or I don't know.
Oh,
Not
yeah, the
Lynn.
one who's getting sued by Dominion and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And they charged for that event for people to attend like $3,000 for
yeah,
these people, and like it was pretty well attended by the like it had a lot of people, and it's like and that didn't include a hotel stay, that didn't include anything. That was just like it was a stupid event.
yeah.
Like you're telling me this is like what a fucking grift. What a huge
Crazy.
fucking grift. You ever watch What We Do in the Shadows?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I haven't watched. What season are they on now?
They're
Like
on the
three?
third season.
I watched the movie and then I watched the first season and I haven't kept up with it.
Definitely watch the second one. Second one's
Right.
really, third one's really good too. Such a good show.
Yeah.
There's an episode where oh crap, what's his name? Not the husband and wife one, not Colin Robinson, the other guy, Nandor. He
Oh,
gets like depressed and everything, and he needs like something. He ends up in a vampire cult where the convinces them that they're human.
yeah.
A cult, like it's the whole thing is like, and it's just one huge grift, and she's tricking
Yeah.
them like nothing. Like she's like, look, I could eat, right? She eats in front of him, and then she's like, hold on, I just gotta go do something, and she goes to the bathroom, she's growing up because she's a vampire also.
Yeah.
And it's just, the whole thing is just one big grift. It's just like, and it's a cult. They trick you, and it, like that's what QAnon is.
Basically, yeah.
I mean, 3,000 to go to a fucking QAnon convention.
Crazy.
What are they doing to you there? They like are they reciting your house? Like, like yeah, sure, whatever. JFK is coming back. Just make sure you recite the house properly.
Get the aluminum. Yeah. Well. Yeah.
It's just scary because that shit was like a half hour away from us, and it's
Yeah.
like, man, Texas is fucking weird. I just don't. people with kids. That's the fucked up part too. Parents bringing their kids to this. This isn't just like the wacky guy or that weird guy you sort of like punk show.
No, it's
a weird old guy by himself. You're like, who's that guy? No, these are like families with kids going to this, and it's like that's deranged.
It reminds me of like almost like back when the hippies were around and you'd have these Manson like cults.
They were everywhere.
Yeah. And
guru cults. My uncle fell into that. It's called Baba.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, he thought he was like the reincarnation of Baba. He it still exists. It's still like an existing religion or church.
But you're right, like in the 70s, late 60s, early 70s, there's a ton of these all over the country. And it was a very popular thing. There's like plenty of people that just joined them.
And it rode with the whole hippie movement and the whole like just with the whole big change movement. But these people coming in and doing that, they're taking advantage of people.
Yeah.
Like they use they use words, they use things like, oh, we're progressive, or they're, or they say something different, like they're not part of the system.
Right.
They don't have long hair, they don't have short hair, they're not the man, they're different, but it's the same shit.
It's the same shit.
It's the same shit with a different dressing on it. Dano's spice and a block of cream cheese.
Well, that's a block of cream cheese is a good transition to this next one. It's actually our last
Don't
item.
you dare ruin a block of cream cheese for me by comparing him to this.
You know what? I'm gonna
pig that you're about to mention.
And I'm not being sponsored by this product or anything, but I'll tell you, one of the
sponsored ever.
No, one of the life-saving or marriage-saving things that has come about is everything bagel seasoning, because now when my wife and I get bagels, we can get plain.
You get what?
We can get plain bagels, and then I can add everything bagel seasoning on top of my cream cheese and get an everything bagel, which I like, and my wife can have the regular standard plain bagel.
Everyone wins.
Everyone wins. So good.
There was like some like nut bag, not like a nut bag, like the people, but like a actual bag of nuts, and it said like everything bagel, and I was like thinking about it, but now I'm like, man, I gotta try that.
Oh man.
But we do actually have a sponsor today. I wanted to bring it up.
What?
Nudicles. Did your dog get recently neutered? Well, and your dog doesn't feel like the man he used to be? Well, we have a product for you. It's called Nudicles. And what they do is you spend an exorbitant amount of money and shove plastic balls in your dog's deflated nutsack so that they could feel like a man again.
Is this like truck nuts but for dogs?
Now, of course, I'm joking. We're not sponsored by it, but that is a real product that really does exist, and people have actually
paid mercy
thousands of dollars for this emergency procedure on their dog's manhood.
Actually,
I am more than happy to not ever see a nutsack on a dog. It is the most weird and most disgusting thing.
Yeah.
And I know it's natural. It's natural.
Yeah, whatever.
Makes me not want them in my house.
Yeah.
Like they're nude, but when you see nuts on a dog, you feel really nude. Like they're like, "Hey, how you doing?" And then it's like, I don't want your nuts splayed out on my couch. So brought to you by Nudicles.
All right. Well, here's our feature performer on the Nudicle Theater.
Speaking of Nudicles,
Kyle Rittenhog.
Rotten Hog. It sounds like a garbage pail kid.
It does. It sounds like
garbage pail kids would have 2 cards. It'd be like people. I don't think people remember that. They would be like 100 cards in a deck or something, but it would really be only 50, and each character had 2 different names.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
So like whatever the other, like it would be like Kyle Rittenhog, and then like he would have some other name.
Right.
Totally different.
Well, good old Kyle Rittenhouse. Kyle Rittenhouse is the kid that traveled across state lines with a AK-47 and then started
one when he got there.
Yeah, and started shooting protesters.
Yeah.
Tried to turn himself in, but the cops just raced right by him.
They basically just let him go.
And then he went home, and his mom took him.
Eventually, all the video went out at night, and the actual authorities were like, "Yeah, I guess we have to arrest this kid."
Right? Yeah.
Because it went everywhere. But it was before he was arrested. It went everywhere.
Yeah. So,
well,
he's on trial. We talked about this a little bit last week. The judge won't let the prosecutors call the deceased victims.
Yeah. And then he went on some bizarre rant today or something.
Talking about CNN and how CNN is against him and stuff. Just like,
it's like, dude, you do like a whole cancel culture bit.
Yeah.
This guy's a total right-wing shitheel. His lawyer today, did I send that to you? His lawyer
yes.
had some like basically blurted out the N-word twice to describe something when he didn't have to say it to begin with. And then he claimed that the skateboard used against Kyle Rittenhouse could have decapitated. Because there's nothing more dangerous.
Right.
Shredding the rails.
Yeah.
Like an AK-47 does not hold up to the might of the most offensive weapon of all, a skateboard.
How many times have we seen like an assistant district attorney or a police chief get up in front of a news crew and talk about a guy who had just been ollied, to death. He'd been ollied.
What's Tony Hawk's company, Birdhouse or something?
I don't know.
Yeah, the games, the video games Skate or Die. Remember that?
Yes.
There's a reason why it's called that, because it's dude, like if it was to me, I would feel safer skateboarding down a ramp with an AK-47 than an actual skateboard. Like,
well,
I don't think people realize that. I mean, because it is just a tool, an AK-47. It's just a tool.
It's crazy. The judge is doing everything he can to stack the deck in favor of Kyle Rittenhouse. And Kyle Rittenhouse is getting increasingly more popular in the right wing.
He was popular the minute it happened. I mean, all the troll bots were out defending him, and all the trolls were defending him. Fuck, even some of the reactionary elements on the left were even defending him a little bit. And then on top of it, which was like disgusting, like this little shit should not have been there. That's the argument. Should not have been there. You had no right to be there. No reason to be there. It was none of your fucking business. That's one. Two, like, he got of course national attention. The president even at the time, which was Donald Trump, just in case you guys forgot. He basically came out in defense of Kyle Rittenhouse. He's like, I find it interesting, He basically came out in defense of him. And Ricky Schroeder, Rifle Coffee Company.
The coffee people.
Some other Linwood. Is that the name? Is it Linwood?
Linwood is the attorney. Yeah.
And then some other big right wing. Oh, what was it? It wasn't Steve Bannon, but it was like some other right wing grifter shitheel that like came out in his support that supposedly paid. Oh, Mike Lindell.
Oh, okay. That makes sense.
I mean, it's just like it's so disgusting. Again, like in a normal society, even if you like had any like sympathy for the kid or you felt like he's getting a bad rap, whatever, that's one thing, But like they are making it like he's a hero, that he like this cultural, like they're turning it into this whole culture war thing. And it's like, dude, this guy murdered people.
He straight up murdered people. Yeah.
Murdered people and he maimed somebody. I was like,
you would figure this would be an easy one to kind of abandon. I mean, like most.
All the people I saw who came out and defended, and all the weird bots on the side, they came out and defended that shitty kid that stared down on the neighbor. Smirked at him.
Yeah.
I didn't think it would lead to those people then defending a fucking murderer because it also fit into their whatever fucked up politics. I didn't think that. I was like blown away by that. I'm like, wow, you go from defending smirking shitty kid, which is like easy one. This kid sucks, and if you're defending him, then you probably suck too. It's just like a personality thing. But now you're defending a fucking murderer. I think you're psychotic.
Yeah.
I don't think it's about like just difference of opinion or personality, like like almost like don't want to be around someone
Yeah,
like
this one shouldn't have been hard. This was an easy one to come out against Kyle Rottenhog.
and then on top of it, like the jury, like there's only like one person of color on the jury. I don't know if that's like I don't know if that's a difference or not. That person of color could be totally in Kyle Rittenhouse's favor.
Yeah, who knows? I mean,
but like even if the jury were to come out and say like the judge can be like, you know what, I'm gonna cut it in half.
Yeah.
You know, the jury could be like, we think he, you know, misdemeanor, so like manslaughter, and then the judge could be like, well, I consider it time served, or who the fuck.
That's entirely possible. You know, I mean, like, it's frustrating. There's been so much. You have Donald Trump on video asking Russia for help and throwing
not even
doubt
just
on the election, and
asking Russia for help, but like
you have him on tape with the Georgia Secretary of State.
Evidence of doing business with Russian oligarchs for decades. Yeah. Dude, the guy, I don't think people realize this. He's done like weird entertainment stuff for Russia for years.
Yeah.
He starred in some weird video recently of some pro-Putin rapper. Like this was like a year before he was elected. I mean, this isn't just some like, oh, what a big deal, you know, people do work. No, get the fuck out of here. It's like what you said with the guy who did the racist cartoons for Hustler.
Yeah.
Like you agree to do it, you're willing to get paid to do it. So that's.
But like, you have all these people, and none of them are getting any consequences. You have maybe a few of the January 6th rioters.
Yeah, but
getting like 30 days home confinement or whatever. Yeah, no one's doing time.
No, none of the big ones. Charlie Kirk is free to make as much money and let some guy on his, like we talked about last week, his TP USA, letting some guy about when can we kill people? Literally saying that to a huge applause. Not to like, ew, get this guy out of here, but more like, hey, this guy's speaking our language.
Oh, yeah.
And like Kyle Rittenhouse thing is just truly disgusting because what will happen is, one, you can't say that they're victims. So you already like basically, we already get it. The judge favors this kid.
Yeah,
he can't make it any more evident that he doesn't.
No. It's clear.
And the fucked up thing is, here's the difference. Okay, I'll bring up George Zimmerman. Trayvon Martin.
Yeah.
Trayvon Martin and George Zimmerman was super fucked up. Was there a video of it though?
Trayvon Martin, no.
Was there like some security footage or something?
Could have been, but I don't think there was any footage of the incident.
And no one could really see it. And all the people, you know, it went back to the same people who defend Kyle Rittenhouse defended fucking George Zimmerman. I remember that. Yeah. I used to hear these people say these fucked up things. I'm like, or they would say how like Trayvon Martin, was it like Ben Shapiro? There's like a tweet people pull up for him from like, you know, 2015, whatever it was, and he'd say like Trayvon Martin would be alive if he didn't like try to beat the shit out of George Zimmerman or something like that, like trying to make Trayvon Martin out to be some kind of animal that like was violent. And that's what they did. They were able to create that this kid was violent and that George Zimmerman was like a hero trying to defend the neighborhood. Yep. When in reality was George Zimmerman is a reactionary, abusive, horrible person who fucked with a kid and the kid fucked back with him and then he shot him because he was a fucking coward. And then he proven to be a horrible person because there's evidence of him beating his wife or girlfriend. There's all kinds of evidence that show that. And this guy got away with murder. He murdered a kid. Kid's dead. But the thing is, we didn't have massive video of it to like dispute it. There's tons of evidence showing Kyle Rittenhouse is guilty of doing everything he did. And it's like, okay, you want to make the argument. Okay, well, this kid shows up with a fucking gun at a very contentious time in this area. Mm-hmm. Fucking 17-year-old little fucker with an AK-47 on his back. It's like, what is he up? What is he up to? What are you doing here? Like, it's not the kids who stole my candy bowl. It's not some sweet innocent prank.
Yeah, well, it's like that's why me and you don't go down to Dealey Plaza during a QAnon rally with a gun looking for a fight. I mean, like, it's just no good will come of it.
Or even go down to it to begin with. Like, I'm not going to say I don't want to interrogate and talk to these people.
Right.
I don't want to fucking Like, what are they going to tell me that I haven't heard from these psychopaths before? But like, yeah. So that right there is one thing. So you have the police that is like waiting to start problems with any, like using any problem they could find, plant evidence on these, anything they can to make these people out to be, and they're being demonized in the media. The protesters, they're demonized obviously by the right and by the president. They're demonized by mainstream media. They're demonized by the police. And then this little fucking hog shows up with his AK-47, starts shit with people, and they fight back. Yeah.
And then he opens fire with an assault rifle.
What?
And then he opens fire with an assault rifle.
Right. They didn't. And the guy who attacked him, if the guy who went after him on a skateboard, that guy's a fucking hero.
Yeah, for sure.
He could have just ran away. I mean, probably should have, but he did. The Kyle Rittenhouse was there to start a war. He was there to hurt people. He wasn't there to help. He wasn't there to clean. Like, and the judge and the jury and like, this judge, like, he's in that kid's favor. It's gonna be so disgusting. It's like we see Virginia go to a shitty person, right? I mean, like, you care what anyone says. Like, yeah, say Terry McAuliffe, some Neil with. I don't.
Sure.
This guy is gonna be infinitely worse. It sucks that like people are like, politics shouldn't be about harm reduction, but you know what? It kind of is.
Often, yeah.
It's like 90% of it. It literally is like, and it's fucked up because it just, it pushes our society in a bad way. But I mean, fuck, if you could have like voted for like someone that stopped the Nazi party from getting in power, but you didn't agree with that, the world would probably be a very different place right now.
Yeah.
You wouldn't have any good movies. That's
well,
for sure.
That's for sure.
That's really important. It's really important. Yeah, I don't know, man. I don't know where. I'm not. How long do you think this case is going to go on for?
I don't think it'll go on too much longer. I'll bet you they wrap it up in a week or two.
I'm not. I have a feeling this kid's gonna like.
I do too. I think
I feel like he's gonna get like some kind of like bullshit. What do they call that? Not jail, but what is it?
Like probation or something like that.
Who fuck knows? He might not get anything.
Yeah.
And he'll be on like they're gonna rub it in people's faces like it's a win. It's like a win. You let the psychopath like this kid's gonna kill people again. He's gonna beat his wife or whatever. He's gonna beat his kids.
Yeah.
Dude, this is a bad person. And it's not even that he's bad because one, he will never be taught that what he did was wrong.
No.
That's what's fucked up.
It's being reinforced to him over and over again that what he did was right. Yeah.
Like powerful media figures.
Mm-hmm.
That's what's fucked up about the whole thing.
Mm.
It's like, it's not even just like,
his mom.
you got his mom, which is bad enough as it is. Like that's enough right there sometimes to make someone shitty. Yeah. But like, I mean, you got like big time media figures, like Ricky Schroeder. No, I was kidding. Did you see that?
Kevin Sorbo.
That guy's name again on TikTok? Yeah. TikTok.
Which one?
I forgot his name. He always does the thing with the camera, and he's got like a beard. Older guy.
Oh, Tizian.
Yeah, he did one on Ricky Schroeder. Where Ricky Schroeder,
I saw that. Yeah,
on a weird rant about starting violence on like November. Yeah. What day was it? Like November 12th or something?
I think that was it. Yeah.
Well, I guess we have something to look forward to.
There you go. That'll be our next.
Let's see. Step. Today is November 4th. Unfortunately, that's like what, the weekend?
Oh, it's a Friday. Yeah.
Well, we'll just have to see it for the next podcast. Yeah. If we're even still around, because the Great Revolution,
right,
led by their child soldier, Kyle Rittenhouse.
God.
It is. That's what I said. There's going to be no teachable moment for that kid.
No, that's done.
And that's why he'll become infinitely worse.
Yeah. Someone's
going to get killed again or hurt because of it.
Yeah.
Hey, you know what? We live in a great world. I feel like the past couple of days has proved that,
Well, it has been an onslaught of bad news, but we got we got the vaccine to look forward to for our kids, and we got the Book of Boba Fett. and Hawkeye.
Guy.
A few other things.
And the Eternals, if you want to go to the
Shang-Chi on HBO Max
No,
relatively
Disney
soon. Oh, Disney Plus, I mean. Yeah, relatively
Get
soon.
your corporate monopolies right, Joseph. Come on.
So yes, I'm optimistic for the future.
Everything else.
As long as I stay in my living room and just watch TV.
And then if like they don't have something at the store, you're like, the supply
Right.
chain is collapsing. Shit sells out sometimes, guys. Like not everything is a supply
Yeah,
chain.
it just
Like, stuff sells. It's when it doesn't show up for a month, that's a different story.
yes.
The thing I wanted in front of me at this moment is not available. So therefore, it's a supply chain disaster. You know what? We're gonna wrap this up right now. But I really do believe some of this nonsense, besides being pushed by the right,
Yeah.
on the supply chain, is that people over the past decade have gotten used to having everything. If they live in an area that is around lots of different stores and everything, and also because of Amazon, they expect so much convenience that
I agree. Yeah.
all right, cool.
Yeah.
Well, on that note, I'm Rob Israel.
I'm Joseph K.
You still gone about
that.
Thank you for listening to You Still Going On About That. Please like, comment, share, and if you haven't done it already, please follow us on Instagram, YSGO, Facebook, YSGO, and Twitter, YSGO. Thank you, and have a great day.